YouTube, thank you so much for being here. We love you. And I am switching from the Oleato now that I found out it has 380 calories. Oh, I guess we were talking about this on the pod too. But just so you know, I'm drinking a cold brew, and we love you so much.
Love you.
This one's for you tonight.
Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for you.
Amy.
Riley.
Amy,
I don't know why I always go so peak like book.
Yeah, it's whatever you want. I like that version. You had a coffee mishap happen, but it's all averted now, right?
Yeah, I needed my coffee close to me, but the condensation is off the charts.
Yeah, I got nervous too when the theme song started playing and my mic stand started collapsing down on me, but I figured it out. I tightened everything, and now it's perfect.
Great. I'm feeling fantastic.
Does it feel like it's been a long time since we recorded?
Kind of. Even though we recorded like 20 hours last week.
Right. It was just a week. And then we recorded on a Friday. We did 2 episodes, so that was a lot of recording. But I don't know, for some reason, it seems like a lifetime has happened. Do you think it's because life is not as oriented around huge dramatic moments of Sandoval?
I don't know about you, but I feel like a weight has been lifted without the Sandoval.
Me too. But I I definitely feel that. I feel a little aimless, though.
Yeah.
Because so much of my life and time was dedicated to keeping up to date with all of it. And now we're like thinking about the OC.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Beach life.
What?
Beach life.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah. Now we're just having a summer chill vibe. And it's just so different. And also it felt like Sandoval didn't get resolved really. It's season 11 is just going to be basically a continuation of it. So
right.
I don't know.
How quickly do you think they'll air it? Like they're starting filming today,
Yes.
right?
Today is the official start date of Vanderpump Rules production. So if you're in LA, well, you won't hear this till tomorrow, but start looking around town.
Yeah.
Right, starting now, and Vanderpump Rules is going to be filming at different places. I don't know. Do you think they would try to push it out earlier to get us like?
So this year it started in what, February?
Yeah, it's always like a January, February film in the summer. And then usually it takes like 6 months to cut it, or maybe 5 months, and then January and February. But you think
feels
they might?
So far away.
I know. What the hell are we gonna do?
They should just make it like 40 episodes.
Yeah, extended, jam-packed season, 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
I think we would want to see it all.
Right.
You know what? We haven't heard. If filming started today, we haven't heard one drip about which cast members signed on.
That's true.
Like, what the hell? We don't know if Raquel is on. We don't know if... Do you think it actually did start today, filming?
I hope so.
What, so we can get it sooner?
Do you think that... I feel like Bravo... I don't know. I think it's a potential health risk to have Raquel on.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Oh, totally. I fully agree that Raquel should not be on. I don't know if we've said it before. She should not be on this season. She's not made for television.
No, and she has no allies anymore, so what would the point be?
It would only be if Tom and Raquel's relationship continued. Right. They could film horrific scenes together, and then, we would see their environment together, but I don't think they're going to commit to dating.
Is he even in town? I saw him like taking out the trash the other day. That's a picture I saw.
Yeah.
And then
he was taking out the trash?
Yeah.
Where? At his home?
At the house.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like Ariana's been in New York this whole time for the most part.
Well, I just saw Ariana. She said back on my bullshit, and she was watching Love Island in her living room.
Ooh,
did you see that?
I didn't see that.
You know why we're not hearing anything? Because on June 9th or whatever, Bravo put a full-blown stop on any press that the Vanderpump Rules cast does.
Oh, I mean, they should. They're freaking blabbermouths.
Yeah, the lid was fully
they
open.
They put a fatwa.
Yes. Yeah, it's fatwa mode. And so that's why we're not hearing anything.
Fatwa season.
Yeah. Do you think it's fatwa season? So I think they were gabbing too much, like you said. And that's why we're not hearing any leaks. They're very sensitive about leaks.
I mean, yeah, they've been giving the milk away for free for months.
Yeah, we were getting so much milk from them. We don't even know if Jax is going to be involved.
Right. Although one hint, though, is he didn't come to our See You Next Tuesday, but he alluded on Instagram or wherever that they'll be doing it again in July, which obviously they would be filming.
Yeah.
So I assume that that's why they are doing that.
So that'll be one of the dates where you and I will be there, right? That'll
Why
be enough
couldn't
time.
they wait
You'd like till August?
spring, summer, September?
I'm a housewife that you'll always remember.
Yeah.
Is that what that is? That tagline? I don't know, but it is. I think we purposefully don't know anything about Vanderpump Rules now because of this fatwa, like you said.
Yeah.
Is a fatwa when fatwa is when you're sentenced to death?
Yeah,
for
it's
something-
like you have a mark on your head.
right.
Famously, this is a Bravo tie-in. Salman Rushdie married formerly to Padma Lakshmi from Top Chef.
Oh, right.
So it's relevant.
That is very relevant. Yeah, that was awful. He thought the fatwa was over, and
That
and
sucks. That was really scary.
Yeah, it was at like a book event.
Yeah.
That ties into what? Remember the toast with? Can I talk about it for
Yeah.
1 second? Just because we're going to talk about it. But Stassi on the toast, they were talking about how scary it is to perform on stage
When you've been canceled.
after you've been canceled, and they were probably looking at that Salman Rushdie thing, going, "Oh my God,
Seriously.
I'm not doing this."
Yeah. I loved on that. I don't listen to the toast, but I know who that girl is. Like I've seen her, but I don't really know. But I love that they were both like, because I didn't know, what's her name? The girl?
Claudia.
She's Girl Without a Job is her handle, right?
Yeah, I don't listen to that podcast either. I listen to it because Jackson Stassi were on.
Right.
But
Yeah, me too. But she casually during the conversation goes like, well, when I was canceled, and just like breezed past it. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I love that they were both like, when I was canceled, my experience. And Stassi's like, when I was canceled.
I know. It's wild that we're in a world where two people could have been canceled and fully come back and just live to tell the tale. And it's like,
Yeah.
that was my canceled era.
Yeah, now I want to know what that chick did. I didn't look into it, but
I asked Megan what she did, but I don't know enough to articulate it. I think she had some like anti-Palestine stances, but I feel bad not like giving it the nuance that it probably was. But it's just some tweets that resurfaced that were
wow, like geopolitical.
Geopolitical.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was too deep for me to get into it and not know, but I am, I'm glad they recovered from being canceled. And, but I do agree with the sentiment that they talked about, that it is probably scary to be on stage.
Yeah. I mean, well, they brought it up because, was it BB Rexa? Is that who it was?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
She is an artist, a pop girly, and she was just performing, and some dude chucked an iPhone at her face.
Why?
I don't know. He got arrested, though. She was, like, fucked up. She had a black eye.
That is awful. Why? I mean, he just wanted to throw an object
Now I'm
right
like,
at her face.
Will we ever go on a tour?
Yeah, I mean, egotistically, I was like, whoa, I would never want to go on stage if, just because I wouldn't want, even like Stassi said, she was like, someone started screaming in the audience at one of her shows, Worm with a Mustache or whatever. If I heard someone scream, one time I was in a theater with my friend Pete, and we went to go see movie theater at the Mann's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
And it was before Star Wars, and it was like after, some scary things that happened in movie theaters. And we heard one guy scream before the show, and my heart leapt, because it's just like, you're just, I don't know.
That's how we live these days.
Yeah, being in an environment with a bunch of strangers, can be very scary. You don't know who to trust.
I'm always aware of the exit doors.
Me too. In every movie.
Yeah.
Oh, in every movie. Oh,
I have lead character syndrome, like in my visions and like nightmares of scenarios like that. In my version, I survive always.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would get out.
Me too, because first of all, we're thinking of it. So we're more conscious of this being potentially happening to us. We would probably duck or crawl first.
Do a backflip like Neo, like bend backwards.
Totally, because we are more conscious of this being a potential reality. And
Army crawl.
yes. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Use someone as a human shield,
Yeah. My friends and family.
or a stranger in the seat above you, or in
Yeah,
front of
stranger's better.
you. Don't you think? Instead of a family member. I mean, yeah.
The
And
only
then-
problem is I'm like a tall person, like a woman of size. That's gonna hinder some stuff. I have the strength, which is good because I can throw someone across the room, but I can't get into like a little nook and cranny. Like if I was 4 feet tall and skinny,
Yeah.
I could like go under the seat or something.
Yeah. Well,
These are the things I think about.
me too. I'm also a fairly big target. We're talking.
This took a dark
We're talking about an active shooter scenario, right? Just to
Yeah.
be okay. Well,
I'm
they s-
sorry, trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
That's a fucked up reality. But yeah.
But there was an era in movie theater going. I was an active movie goer, and there was an era where going to the theater was really scary, especially around the Joker time, because people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh my god, someone's definitely going to kill a bunch of people in the Joker." It's like, "Whoa, God!"
Yeah.
And even talking about that, it could inspire someone to be like, "Yeah, I'll be the person
Yeah,
that
it's like
kills
shut
people."
up about it. Don't
Yeah.
give them ideas.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Also, movie theaters don't have metal detectors.
Right.
None of them, which I don't want them ever to, but
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Ugh, that would suck
What?
to have metal detectors.
I know, it would make you so
It's already
bummed
hard
out.
enough checking in with my A-list. They check your ID.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But concerts have metal detectors for good reason, and we don't
Yeah.
really care that much. I went to Blink-182, and I expect them to not let me have a knife. Or
You were probably with that submarine boy.
that submarine boy. Let me tell you what. He did not act like he was sad at all when he was in line. He was hooting and hollering and pumping his fist and saying, "I can't wait to watch Blink-182." He doesn't give a shit.
No.
You think
He's a
he's
weirdo.
Yeah, I know.
People are dredging up. He's canceled.
He got canceled.
He was like a potential active shooter.
Yeah. I was going to cancel him just for what he did, just by asking for Blink tickets.
Yeah.
But then it got even worse.
Yeah. He said mean stuff to Cardi B.
Yeah.
He like is a stalker. He has such a bad rap.
I do want to go easy on him a little bit, though, because I found out that he's a Turtle Time listener. So can we just he's canceled? No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. What's his name? Brian Hamish?
More than I know.
Brian is his first name. I think his stepdad is a Hamish.
Okay.
Yeah, he seems awful.
I saw a tweet that Mariana sent that it's since been deleted. But it was someone saying, who is stoked about the submersive, that's what it's called, right? Submersible?
People want to say that, but you can just say
submarine. Drama,
Yeah.
tragedy, whatever, is probably Sandoval.
He loves it.
Well, it's a new news story for everyone to grab onto.
But it's also like, it's perfectly timed, but also it's like, let's talk about this now. It's like...
I don't think they're one-to-one.
No.
They're different.
what, you mean
Like,
5
they're
people dying?
different
Yeah, types of...
areas.
Yes.
Like, we can talk about both. But, and obviously it's horrific, horrible. But then there's the billionaire element that I'm like, not to get political, there's all those migrants on a boat no one's talking about. There's all
Right.
kinds of stuff going on. But anyways, what I was saying is a funny thought experiment would be, what if Sandoval was on the submarine? What would people say? And then if they find the submarine and Sandoval gets out, would people celebrate him surviving? Or would a bunch of people get canceled for wishing him dead?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, let me imagine this scenario. So Tom Sandoval, to get away from this, Scandoval
Social
effect,
media.
he decided to use a lot of his money to go on the submersible.
He took the $200K from his mom's retirement.
He said, I would really like to explore my passion, which is the Titanic sinking. I've
Yeah.
never been really into underwater stuff, but I'm really interested in seeing the Titanic through that little peephole.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use my money. I'm going to get away for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Is he by himself?
Just a 3-hour tour.
Is he by himself in this scenario?
I think he's with, well, I don't want to bring in the real
No, right, don't.
victims
Don't.
into this. So let's see. What,
He's by himself.
okay.
The thought experiment is already...
It's run from the outside, so he's completely alone in
Okay.
solitude.
Okay, and he's not even...
In my version.
He's not even commanding that console
Well, he
or
has
anything.
the little Xbox controller that everyone's talking about.
All right, so he peeks the Titanic, and then let's say... How long are we going to talk about this? He gets a good look at the Titanic. He sees the shipwreck. There's some... what is it? Like gold coins floating around, wooden stairs,
Yeah. White Star Line plates.
white starling plate, the captain's hat,
Aw,
right? What's
Sad.
that? But he went down with the ship.
he was a good man.
That was honorable. I
Yeah.
would never.
He would never go down with the ship.
Goodbye.
Our fight or flight.
No,
we're
I would put the captain's jacket and the captain's hat on some sort
on a
of
broom.
on a broomstick and lock the captain's chamber after me, like, self-lock it. And then if anybody peeked in the windows, they'd say, oh, the captain, he's amazing. He went down with the ship. And sayonara, baby. I'm on the bottom of one of those. They would have I would commission a special little rowboat for the captain. Going down with the ship? Would
What
you?
about the band?
What? Oh, the band was
They
awesome.
went down with the ship.
Who, the band?
Yeah.
Bands go down with the ship.
Okay.
Bands, you're playing music, you want to keep everybody in a fun mood. Although the music was kind of somber,
Yeah.
right?
Right? Was there a moment? I'm trying to remember what they played, but yeah, it's sad. And
classical music.
Yeah. I love, because the thing about that movie, the movie Titanic, is that Jack in that movie has exactly what we're talking about, where he has like superhuman survival skills.
Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He is like everything goes their way up until a certain point.
Well, what about when he's handcuffed to the thing? and
She
he's-
puts an axe through the
Yeah.
handcuffs,
Yeah.
which I don't know if that would work, but also she would just cut his arm off on accident. But when they're the climb up to the back of the boat and it starts sinking, he knows all about physics and what will happen when
Oh,
it's,
right. He
he's
says-
like, there will be a huge amount of force from this
The
million
gravity.
ton
Yeah.
boat going under. I'm like, how do you know? This has never happened before. Like, how do you know what the science is?
Yeah. I mean, remember he was in France. He was like kind of a street kid taking doing nude photos of people, and maybe he just learned some things about the world while he was on the street.
Maybe, yeah.
What was his friend's name? The Italian
Fabrizio.
Fabrizio did the opposite. He went up on the top. Or no,
Right.
he went down on the
I
bottom.
thought he got shot.
Fabrizio. Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
he get shot?
Oh, he did? By who?
One of the workers.
Oh, okay.
Because he's like, I said, stop fucking around. or whatever.
Oh, right.
And then he dies. It's really sad, dark.
That's awful. But so
The Titanic minute.
so then, in your thought experiment, if Sandoval went down there, he peeked, and then something.
There's.
Oh my God.
Why are there like nonstop helicopters?
Well, this is like what my house is like. Nonstop helicopters all the time. If Sandoval went down and then came back up through sheer rescue ability, like everyone rallied around him. I mean, I would hope that they didn't know it was Tom Sandoval under there, so the rescue teams wouldn't just say,
Forget
"Let
him."
forget him. This is the most hated man in America." I would expect that they would do their due diligence, rescue him, and then I would personally celebrate him being alive.
Yeah.
But
Do you
people would
think
be
it
making
would
jokes
solve
about it.
Scandoval? If
Yeah.
he survived?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, as long as he came out and he said something like, "It took me going to the depths of the ocean to find out the depths of my depravity
Yeah.
with Ariana, and now I know truly the horror I have committed. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
I think I would cheer. Would you cheer?
I mean, it would be exciting. Can't lie.
But we know he's not in it, right? Because we've seen him. You said he was taking out garbage.
Yeah, I think we can confirm that Sandoval is not in the submersible. Do you think that if they had live rescue footage, do you think Ariana would be watching the footage?
Yes. I think Ariana would call or what's that called? She would not allow her anger at him to override her feeling of we gotta hope this man survives, because I don't think she wishes ultimately Tom dead, right?
Especially not that way.
No, we don't. No, you don't want him like that. But I think just breaking news, which this will be old news by tomorrow, but they found there's a big pile of debris.
Really?
In the site
Oh,
where the
shit.
Titanic was, and also their oxygen is already out. So if they weren't rescued, it's over for them. Unfortunately, it was the chances were like probably 5% out of a.
So dark. It's so dark.
Yeah.
The most fucked up. I mean, there's so many fucked up details about it. I wasn't as enthralled with it as everyone else in the world. I was like, wow, we're really gonna be obsessed with this. Okay.
Me neither. I don't find it to be that. Like, I find it horrible, but I wouldn't dwell on this I'm not captivated.
No, I kind
by
of
it.
like skirted past it until it really took over the internet and the news. I was like, all right, fine, I'll get interested.
Yeah, it's
I
like
guess.
Sandoval's over.
Yeah, but the crazy detail is that they bolt it closed from the outside. So even if it had floated up on its own, but no one found it, they'd still be equally fucked.
Yeah, I mean, you have to equate them with like Everest people.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Volcano
People die at
jumpers.
Everest every day.
Yeah, it's just they did something that I guess seems more safe, but in reality, when you think about it, it seems horrible and not safe in any way.
Yeah.
So they're adventurers. They had adventurous spirit. They had to know that was a possibility.
Yeah.
It's not foolproof.
They signed a waiver. Yeah,
You think they signed a waiver?
they did.
Oh, they did.
It said death on it multiple times, the waiver.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that's a possibility. The urge to do that is what is interesting to me.
Right. Yeah, I had earlier this year I had an Everest era
You did?
where I read Into Thin Air. And
I
then
want to read that.
It's really good.
Oh, man. John Krakauer, is that
yeah.
his name?
Did you know he was there?
He did. He did
was
a part of it.
there during the debacle that the book is about.
No, I didn't know
He
that.
survived. I thought he just wrote about it, but he was literally on the tour. He was there.
That is so wild. I started reading the other book, the Mormon book he did, and it was I loved it so
Under
much.
the
So I'm
Banner
gonna
of
read.
Heaven?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read that.
You should.
Okay.
And then I became obsessed, and I watched like every documentary, and I watched the Jake Gyllenhaal, James Brolin movie Everest.
I've never seen that. Is it good?
It's good. It's kind of a quick overview because I became so obsessed that by the time I watched it, I was like, yeah, know all about this anyways.
Yeah.
But they actually went to Everest. They only, I think, went to base camp, but they actually filmed it there, which was crazy.
Would you ever do it?
Fuck no.
Would you go to the base camp?
No.
I would just want to look up at it.
I don't think it's worth it.
Is it true that they, like, when they're going up Everest, they, like, see the frozen bodies of dead people who have done it in the past?
Yeah.
Like, and they're, like, markers?
Because they can't take them down because a lot of the, all the brunt of everything lays on the Sherpas
Oh.
who make not that much because they're the ones that are from there.
Right.
And they know that's, like, how they make money. But a lot of them die, too.
Right.
And getting people off the mountain is a whole thing. But yeah, everyone says once you get to the top, you don't enjoy the top because you're on a ticking clock. You have to get out of there because you're running out of air and you can't be up that high. You're not supposed to be up that high.
Yeah.
Our bodies can't handle it. So you're on a race to get back if you can even get back. A lot of people die on the way back down, not the way up.
Whoa.
Because you're completely spent and out of energy and you have to
Yeah.
get all the way back down.
Probably also they're high-fiving a bunch up there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they run out of energy jumping into the air.
What would
a
you
million
do
times.
hypothetically, because we're doing thought experiments, hypothetically, if you did reach the top, what would your one thing you did up there
I would
be?
dab.
Really?
Yeah.
The last dab on Everest? You'd be the only person to ever dab there and probably the last person. Ooh, how good of a
And then
dab
I
would
drop
you
dead.
She dabbed.
Do a death drop.
What if you did that? Oh, what if you unfortunately got frozen in the middle doing a dab? That would be bad.
And I just was the topper on Everest, like a cake topper for
Yeah.
eternity.
They would probably get rid of your body if you were. They wouldn't want that at the top. I don't think your frozen dead body, doing a dab would be the marker that they would want up there.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
We should do. I want to do a graphic of you frozen in ice, like The Shining.
Yeah.
You know, Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining, but you're in a dab and it's you on top of Everest. How big is the top of Everest? Like huge,
It's
right?
like 28,000 feet. It's like
Oh no! How
Oh.
the circumference
Oh.
of the top, is it like a small?
like a
little-
tip.
Yeah, I'm picturing you as literally on a cake, on the very top. But I assume there's some.
Yeah, there's a
ground.
little bit of space.
Wow, that is amazing.
But yeah.
Wow, you
That
had an
was-
Everest era.
yeah, I got very fascinated. I love, I don't know, I think there's a word for that. Like, what is it called? Like gruesome, interests. I mean, not like true crime, but what's that called? Like, or there's like, what's it called? Blank tourism. Like,
Oh yeah.
not problematic, but, or, just like dark
Tourism.
something like that, where people,
And-
you know, like the murder tour you
Yeah.
can go on, or I don't know, but I just think it's fascinating about what makes people want to do that. They'll pay so much money. I'm sure you've seen that image of all the people waiting in line to get to the top of Everest. There was like a
No.
article, I don't know if it was like New York Times or something, a couple years ago, and during the peak season, because the conditions, sorry, I'm going off on Everest right now.
Go for it.
But the conditions have to be perfect
Yeah.
to do it.
Like
Otherwise,
a
you'll
couple
die.
months.
Yeah.
A
Like
hot day.
the wind and the snow and like everything has to be perfect. So everyone goes at the same time. And there's an image of that last little part to get up. There's just a line of like 100 people waiting their turn to get on, like they're
Really?
at Disneyland. And I'm like, okay, so it's not even like a cool spiritual experience. You're just like waiting in a line with a bunch of other rich assholes.
Once you get to the very top, like the last.
Well, I think there's like, I don't remember all the lingo, but there are certain areas that are like ladders basically, and you have to like get to the next region. So I think they
Okay.
get backed up
Yeah.
at those areas because you have to wait for people in front of you to get through that part.
It's like, come on,
Yeah.
finish doing it. Come
Yeah.
back down here with us.
And your like entire body is being like collapsed by the pressure at that
Wow.
altitude.
I think, yeah. I mean, people get bored, I guess, with life, and
Yes.
there's
I'm
risk.
like going to jet ski.
It's so much more fun. About half as risky.
Yeah.
You can do it anytime you want. It's not that expensive.
Oh.
Jet skis are so cool. You get the exact same thrill as being at the top of Everest. If you're, I did jet skis at like the Big Bear Lake or whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
I felt like I was climbing Everest. It's so fun. And when you fall off, like instead of falling off Everest, long horrible fall, you just fall right into water.
A cooling, refreshing body of water.
Do you like jet skiing?
I actually think it's scary.
What if someone went hypothetically pretty slow, like 20 miles per hour?
I'm okay with being on like the back.
Yeah.
But when I'm in charge of driving it, I go not fast enough, and I'm like just scared
Oh my God,
of being in charge.
Oh, I love it. And they also, if you go 60 miles an hour or whatever, 50 miles an hour, you have this key lock on your thing. So if you go flying off, the jet ski just fully stops.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not that risky, but I think you're right, though. The thrill I get from jet skiing is probably what those people feel when they go to Everest.
For sure. Well, maybe we can record a special episode at base camp. Maybe I'll make an exception.
That would be so fun. Is it, where, is it Nepal? Or is it?
Yeah, it's
Oh, it probably covers.
well, yeah, you can go in through China
Okay.
or like, oh my God, why do we always bring up shit that I'm terrified to say
Well, I
wrong?
was just thinking Nepal. I was like, I have no
Yeah,
clue. So.
But you can go in from like two different
Okay,
ways,
'cause it's so
and
big.
the nations are in competition about, there's one way that's maybe safer, but like they charge, they just keep upping the price for the permit.
Oh.
So it's like, at first it was not that much, and then they were like 20 grand, and then they were like 50 grand,
Yeah.
and then they were like 75, and people would just pay it, of course. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a hard scenario because, obviously the Sherpas are in danger by doing that job, but at the same time, they need those tourism dollars.
Right.
So it's complicated.
It sounds very complicated. Well,
Real Housewives of Everest
what would they do?
spinoff.
Would they just hang out on Everest?
Rich women climbing Everest.
Oh, like an Ultimate Girls Trip.
Yeah.
Ultimate Girls
Who
Trip.
would go?
Season 6, Mount Everest. Who would go, you said?
Yeah. Who are
Bethany.
okay?
Because she's rich enough. I don't know if
Yeah.
they'd make them pay their own way.
We need some fit girlies.
I mean,
Tamra and Teresa have done bodybuilding.
yeah, I was thinking Tamra, but I was like, do I want to watch Ultimate Girls Trip Mount Everest with Tamra? I guess
that's-
so.
Kind of annoying. I don't know. Maybe some Salt Lake snow bunnies.
Oh, right. They're already adapted to cold weather. That
Yeah.
might be good. Well, I mean, that show basically pitches itself. I mean, throw any cast at Everest.
All right,
and
so
it's
now we
gonna
have
be good.
Conover and Catania, Real Housewives of Everest,
Yep.
and then you have your the Ultimate Guys Trip
Yep.
ideas.
Yep. Ultimate Boys Trip. 3
Yeah.
seasons of that locked in. The cast is like solidified. I
Okay,
mean, I've
great.
called all of them. They're in.
Okay, cool.
Danny Provenzano from New Jersey.
Can we add Bo Dietl?
Of course we can. Bo Dietl wasn't even like in the ether when I started doing these. Bo Dietl needs to be there. He could be, investigating all of them while they're in the house.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Can we have to add to? I know that Catania doesn't like Bo Dietl, but I think it would be fun if the law firm used Bo Dietl as a resource to
Yes.
dig up dirt for their clients.
Does Frank? I don't know if he doesn't necessarily like Bo Dietl. He doesn't like that Louis co-opted
Sicked
him.
Bo Dietl
And Bo
on
Dietl
him.
has since said that he has no affiliation with Louis. So,
Do you believe him?
I mean, he would be an amazing private investigator if he just lied about it. I have no clue what the hell is going on with Bo Dietl, but I don't think Frank Catania has negative feeling towards Bo Dietl. It was just
Okay.
that Bo Dietl was being sicked on him. So I think he's an amazing resource for that show.
Okay, great.
Bo Dietl is he's already an actor. You said it. He's in
Yeah?
Wolf of Wall Street. What other films?
I think The Irishman and what was the third? It was 3 Scorsese movies.
Okay. Well, he would be
Maybe
amazing.
Goodfellas? I don't remember.
Yeah, he'd be amazing on that show. And just an update on that, we sent an email to Bravo with all that information and just specifically the 20 minutes where we talked about it, or maybe 5 minutes we talked about it. And so far, they haven't replied back, but it went to the right place.
Okay, great. Okay, wait. So we started talking about Stassi on the toast, but
Oh, yeah.
let's get more into it because I thought it was really interesting. In conjunction with Jax having been on a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that so Jax was on and the host really let him say whatever he wanted. She
yeah.
didn't have any follow-ups. She didn't call him out on his very clear, in my opinion, bullshit.
Yeah.
I think maybe we already talked about it a little bit of where he was saying Lisa begged him for advice and
Yeah.
she should have asked him to invest in a bar, that Schwartz and Sandy's begged him to take over for Sandoval.
Yeah. Just, it was actually, I think it was great with no pushback because she just sort of let him run.
Gave him enough rope, so to speak.
Yeah, he just let him run wild, and everything he said, every other sentence was like you could just tell it was a Jax lie,
Right.
Like his brain and how he interpreted it. I mean, there were just easy things to just dispute. Like he said that he had Schwartz on his podcast, and that Schwartz said that Raquel and Tom Sandoval were no longer dating anymore. And then, like, I had listened to that episode, and Tom Schwartz says, I have no idea. I'm not keeping in touch with them. So just one basic fact he just, like, fully got wrong.
Yeah, if you fact check him for 1 second ever, it's always made up completely.
Also, he says 99.9% of the time, I am always right.
Right.
If you look back, you can check my history, find out a time when I was wrong. And then I was trying to think about it because I was thinking of instances where he lied.
Right.
And then he eventually owned up, Faith, the Kristen
Yeah.
thing, Miami girl, he actually was right.
Yeah.
But then I was like, so when was Jax wrong? I mean, I know he's been wrong in the past,
Right.
but what has he been really wrong about?
Yeah, I was trying to think about it too, and then
You
my
were?
brain shut down.
Yeah, it's just
Well, it's like a weird, specific.
right, wrong.
Right.
What does wrong mean?
Right.
It doesn't mean he never lied because he's one of the biggest liars that there ever
Right.
was. What was he wrong about? I mean, he did say that Ariana and Sandoval's relationship was a facade, which Tom Sandoval has since said that. Ariana doesn't believe that, but I don't know. You could kind of say he was right in his interpretation of
Right.
their.
Well, it's also that he's like the most cynical of everyone. He just
thinks the worst.
the worst of everyone.
Yeah,
So
true.
with this group of people, you're probably going to end up being right if you just don't give anyone any benefit
That's
of the
true,
doubt.
Yeah. The what you said about him going, or Lisa coming to him when she's having drama in Beverly Hills, like sitting him down at SIR to ask his advice, like that is just so ridiculous.
Insane.
I mean, she would ask anyone over Jax.
I mean, we're rewatching, as you all know, on the Patreon from the beginning, and Lisa has no respect for him ever from
No,
the start,
no.
like at all.
And I feel like they're not in a good place. I mean, the things he said about Lisa, like that she's just a prop on stage, that she has no
Also,
place
like,
on the
good
show.
fucking luck with your comeback.
Yeah, for real.
I know that I'm a little bit of an outlier in that I still believe everyone needs to kiss the Vanderpump ring, but I'm like, it's still called Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, I agree. He gave her no credit. I mean, to give him some credit, it is true that although she gave them the push and made the teaser or whatever with them, they were the ones who had to propel this show, and it is based fully on the personalities of those cast members.
Yeah.
The reason why it survived. If it would have been a flop cast, it would have lasted, not even past the pilot.
For sure.
So he's right about that, but he was very disparaging of Lisa, and I don't think he can come. I think there's some grudge there between him and Lisa, because I think people are more talking about Jax and Brittany getting a spinoff than they are talking about Jax and Brittany actually being on Vanderpump Rules.
Right. Did you see, who was it? Oh, Amy Schumer was on Watch What Happens Live a week or two ago, and she brought up something about they're playing like Marry Fuck Kill or something, and Jax came up and she was saying, wasn't he canceled or kicked off the show for something racial? And Andy was like, no.
Yeah, no.
But like, I always thought it was tied into the faith thing, but it's not.
No, people. So here's the timeline. Stassi and Kristen got the axe.
Yeah.
Fully, like, blacklisted. You're
Yeah.
out. Then there was like 2 months or 3 months. I think. I don't remember the exact timeline. And then Jax and Brittany left the show or were fired. We don't know. But it wasn't in relation to those things. People started to pull from Jax's past to say people had finally had enough of him. They said that his comments about Billy Lee were horrible, that he had done things that were racially motivated in the past, but there wasn't any specific incident that they knew he got canceled for.
Okay.
What I think happened was they weren't filming. It was like COVID.
Yeah.
And they had a full like missed season, I think, from COVID. And I think Jax was probably saying, if we don't film, Brittany and I are going to find some other network. Like, we need to film immediately or whatever. Probably just like full of ego. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm going to leave if you don't, if we don't start filming or if you don't tell me what's going on or whatever. So I think they both got to a place where Bravo was like, hey, why don't you take a pause? We'll go our separate ways. So I don't think they were specifically fired. I think Jack said it. They both came to agreement. I don't know if I believe him or not, but I don't think he was specifically fired. I think he was just becoming
became too difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
I buy that. But yeah, so he was saying he re-explained the Stassi wedding story because, as we know, Jax and Brittany did not go to Stassi's Italian wedding.
Yes.
And his storyline is that they didn't get Cruz's passport in time. They they were going to leave him behind, but then it was like Brittany's mom was going to come watch him, but then she had an emergency so she couldn't come. So he was basically like, it wasn't in the cards. It turned out, everything kept going wrong. We couldn't go. And
he also didn't want to get stuck in Italy. So
right. He was like, I was seeing stuff about people getting stuck in Italy, and I was like, I got jobs and a kid. I can't be stuck in Italy.
So adding those random details to your excuse actually makes things sound worse because you don't have one specific thing for why it happened. You're just throwing a bunch of dirt at the wall, hoping that something sounds like a legitimate excuse.
You're like, an entire wedding party is going to Italy. Like, I don't think all of you are going to get trapped in Italy. Like, what are you talking about?
I like when he said that he gave her $500 for the food.
Yeah, he Venmo'd her. That's so insulting.
I know.
Okay, so he said that amongst his other bullshit. Then Stassi went on the Toast, and they asked her about this, and she said, perfect, great. Now, she was like, he did not tell the truth. It turns out that Stassi, I wish she named names, but she said that Jax and Brittany were talking shit about the wedding, telling other people. I don't know what
Schwartz
they said.
To
but
Katie. I mean,
yeah,
there so many connections. It could have been talking shit to Schwartz about it. Katie hears from Schwartz. Katie tells Stassi.
What do you think they were saying? Just like annoying to have to go to Europe for this bullshit.
Imagine
like,
Jack's complaining. He complained about going to the beach that one day in season 8 when Max set up a beach day to go clean up litter.
He said it wasn't eco-friendly.
He goes, "Oh, you're all going to drive your cars to go clean up litter?" I mean, in his defense, that was horrible. There was no litter. It was the cleanest beach I've ever seen in my life, and it made no sense. But he complains about everything.
Yeah.
He was in his complaining era.
Yeah.
And I could totally imagine him bitching like crazy about spending going
money
to
on the
Italy.
flights, blah blah blah,
having a baby, doing all this stuff, the passport, whatever, and they just flopped out. Even when Stassi checked in to say, "Hey, I heard you're talking so much shit about my wedding. Are you actually coming?" And they go, yeah, of course, of course. And then they drop out when it's too late to do anything about it. I would be so pissed.
Oh yeah, she was saying like they made the cut and she had to exclude. I mean, you've had to plan a wedding.
Yes.
You know how I have not, and I think it would be painstaking to make those choices. Other people that she would have gladly given a slot to,
anyone
they took.
Anyone.
It's not about the money.
Yeah, and it was too logistically
late.
complex. Yeah,
imagine calling someone and being like, "The wedding's tomorrow in Italy. Do you want to come?"
You can't. You can't do it. And I have not heard a wedding story yet that doesn't have some friendship ending thing or some massive drama about the guest list.
Right.
It is just the one incident in your life where you have to choose people, and there's always someone that gets offended or that should have been invited, or you have to cut out, or people realize that they weren't as close to you. It's just, there's always some drama about this. And all that stuff made me think, when they're going back and forth, hearing these two rival podcasts and hearing Jack's lie and hearing the stuff he said about like Kristen, which we can talk about, but I was just like, man, there is so much drama here. I would have loved to see.
Seriously, that was such a waste.
The 9th season of Vanderpump Rules could have potentially been Stassi's wedding in Italy.
Dude,
with half the cast
I want to
coming.
cry. Don't even tell me. It's like so sad.
It just gave me chills. I was just picturing us going to Italy for Vanderpump Rules.
It would have been like 6 episodes long of like gearing up. 3 episodes in Italy.
Jax and Brittany are there. I think Katie was there. Christina Kelly is there. Like even
Jax and Brittany being filmed talking shit and then not going.
That would have been 5 episodes of the best Vanderpump Rules you've ever seen. Just the drama from that storyline. Then
Stassi was definitely like a bridezilla.
Oh, totally. Then there's the Kristen stuff where Jax says that he hangs out with Kristen, but she's constantly talking about his ex-boyfriend, like her ex-boyfriend that he can't see anymore. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Put a camera on that. I want to see Kristen still and you fighting about these like relationships with her exes and stuff.
I love Jax's point of view is always just no one has any like to stand on with anything they say against him. Like Kristen's like, "Don't hang out with my ex," and he's basically saying, "We don't talk about you, sweetheart."
Yeah. He said that like 3 times. We are not sitting there talking about you. Get over it. And apparently he's still like blocks Kristen all the time. Like she has to unblock herself from his phone every time she sees it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely alluding to a spin-off. Stassi made it sound like she would very much be interested in being on some sort of a show. But, they were saying, would Hartford be allowed to be on TV? And she says, depends on the show.
Yeah.
I thought that was great that she just, obviously Stassi's story makes a lot more sense because Jax's was filled with holes.
I fully believe it. I just think even when Jax isn't lying, I think he has the Teresa brain where what he heard in a conversation is fact in his mind, and he just plays out every conversation in his head to where he hears what he wants to hear, and then that's the truth. I don't believe him at all.
No.
Ever.
No.
But that's why he's so entertaining. I thought his Toast podcast, if you haven't listened to it, Little Turtles, you got to listen to it because it was just so entertaining.
Yeah.
50 minutes of Jax lying, saying all these fake stories.
Tall tales. It was like Big Fish.
It was totally. His life is completely unreality. Like everything he says, it was so entertaining. I was more entertained by his interview than Stassi's because Stassi's like logical and she was being, I liked a little bit of drama, but they didn't go so in. Jax just went in. So he'll say anything. He has to be like, he basically has to be like reined in to not say like the worst stuff you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah. I forget. I was looking at something online about him and was reading the comments. And it's funny, it depends which page you're on and whatever, because things differ. But there was a decent amount of anti him, but anti Britney sentiment that I thought it was interesting, because I'm surprised that, because I'm kind of like, if you roll with Jax, I don't trust you completely. Like,
Right.
I'm not just going to give her the good old gal heart of gold just because.
Yes.
And I feel like that wedding thing played into that.
Yes.
And, yeah, I'm curious. I'm like, what else is going on there? Does she have a sinister side, or has she just been broken by having to defend Jax for so long?
I think, it's hard to get into it. I believe Brittany is a good person, but has one eye closed to the shenanigans that, Jax brings to their life.
Yeah.
I fully believe she was a victim in the Stassi wedding drama. I'm sure it was Jax that was talking shit, and she really thought she could make it up to a certain point where Jax said, we're absolutely not going or whatever.
Right.
And then she has to bear the brunt of telling Stassi that this happened. I don't think Brittany has ill will towards anyone or has a bad, spirit to her, but I think she lets Jax get away. Jax gets away with a lot with her, and you could say she is implicated by his behavior.
Yeah. When they were on Watch What Happens, Andy asked if they were surprised about Sandoval, and it basically at the same time, Jax says like, no, I'm not surprised at all. And she's like, I am, or like, I was.
Yeah, no. And then he goes, and then Jax says something like, no, he's been cheating all the time. I knew he was cheating. I've been getting texts that he's cheating, on Ariana for a really long time. And Brittany goes, you have? So wait, no. If I would have known that, I would have told Ariana that there's all these rumors. So it made Jax look just bad, or it made Brittany look bad. That Jax was saying that he had evidence that he had been cheating this entire time.
Right. Well, that's also one of the things he was, quote, right about was Miami Girl, and it was because he was there.
Right. I mean, he heard them having sex, basically. I still can't believe Miami Girl was true.
It's crazy.
I
can't wait till we get there on the show.
I was just going to say, I am going to watch it with completely new eyes. I can't wait to see it.
That's going to be hard to watch Sandoval lie through his teeth.
I know. And that's the era where I started to like Sandoval, and I was like, Ariana and him versus the world. And now just knowing that was completely fake.
Yeah.
Whew. Very
dark.
Bad. Yeah.
But yeah, was there anything else on the Stassi interview that was interesting to you?
I wanted to talk about Stassi wanting to go back on television under her own, on her own pretenses and have like a world where it's Bo and Hartford, but it's not so toxic. I think Kristen wants the same thing.
Yeah.
And Jax and Brittany, I assume, half want the same thing, but I can't imagine a spinoff. Like, obviously, I think Stassi cannot have a reality show on her own. I don't think she should have a Stassi's World.
Yeah.
Or, Stassi's Guide to Being Basic, like the show or whatever. I don't think that would have enough legs. We wouldn't tune in. So she has to have a little bit of the Vanderpump Rules runoff. But just a show with those four, the fired cast... It's like, why? Just please push that into Vanderpump Rules. You guys can create. I think we've said this before, maybe on Patreon. You guys can create a family-oriented, more adult-themed version, and still have the chaos of what's happening with Schwartz and Sandoval. They can live on the same show. I don't really think that they have to be burdened by the awful, toxicity of this one aspect of the show.
Right.
They can all live on the same show.
Yeah, because they're still people that they know.
Yes.
So it's still relevant.
Yeah, let Schwartz dip into both. He could go into the family world with you guys and then have to go back to the horror show with Sandoval.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really want the spin-off version.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to enjoy what it all goes back to the worst decision in the world, which was when COVID happened. Everyone was like, brains were completely fried, and Stassi and Kristen got fired within 1 minute of the Faith scandal coming out, with no thought to the repercussions, no chance for repentance,
Right.
And
well, have you been seeing? It's a testy area, but what Faith has,
I actually
is up
feel-
to this week?
It's shocking to me because it actually doesn't feel that testy anymore. Like I feel like the sentiment is that was lame as hell.
Yeah.
That it's too late. First of all, and I read Stassi's book Off with Her Head. There's no disparaging comments about Faith in any way. It just seems like, unfortunately, I mean, I'm going to take the bullet here. It seems like a total cash grab.
So explain what, if people haven't seen this online, Faith is starting a GoFundMe to raise money to sue Stassi.
She wants to sue Stassi and get all the profits from Stassi's book.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, she wants all the profits that used
Yeah,
her.
it's too late.
It's too late.
That book came out like
2 years ago.
so long ago.
Yeah, and it's one chapter in her book. It's about being canceled. I don't know. It is too sensitive to talk about, but I feel like the world when Stassi got canceled, the Vanderpump Rules community was like, it was off with her head. It was Bravo death penalty.
Yeah.
It was goodbye, Stassi. We're covering you in gasoline and lighting you on fire, and you don't belong in this world anymore.
Yeah.
And now it seems like with time, I mean, we're openly, you and I are gonna. I don't know if you. Well, should I say it? I mean,
We're going to see her
we're
live
going
show.
to. Yes, like we're going to see Stassi's show, and I don't even. I read her book. We just talked about her interview on the Toast. She's not a canceled figure in our minds anymore. But if you would have said that 5 days after the cancellation, it would be like, I mean, you would be sentenced to death too.
Right.
It's just time really has healed this
Heals all
Stassi
wounds.
situation. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as big of a Stassi stan as a lot of people, but when you do watch some of that, her last moments on the show, she does say some questionable shit that you're like, I hope you've grown. I think she's grown in a lot of ways. But yeah, there's some cringe moments on. I think it's maybe because she seems like one of the smarter ones, question mark.
Yeah.
TBD. That when she says offensive things, whereas like if Jack says something offensive, you're like, you're a moron, like shut up. But
Right.
if someone that you kind of give a little more credit to says offensive things, you're like, oh man.
Yeah, totally.
But
I'm just shocked by the world and how we have moved past what seemed like the worst thing in Vanderpump Rules history.
Right.
And like that Stassi and Kristen were just like removed from the world.
right.
I mean,
Which is why I'm very curious what will happen with Sandoval, because
yeah,
everyone
he's not
else
canceled,
has
right?
been, I mean,
He's not. He's not canceled.
but like to some people he is, because
Yeah, I
it
guess.
veers into like emotional abuse territory.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which
Right.
is true, but I don't know.
It seems more on the realm of humanity than something that was like racially motivated. It seems like,
Right.
like, okay, yeah,
Right.
we cannot bear what you did. Whereas Sandoval feels like, okay, this is in the realm of what we've dealt with on these shows before.
Right.
He's hated,
yeah.
but no one, I mean, not a lot of people are saying Sandoval should never film on Vanderpump Rules again. I think
Right.
most people want to see the
I
aftermath
mean, in
of
the
this.
comments, some people, that's the thing though. I get so confused in the comments because there's these little sample areas and they're all different.
The thing about the internet and when you see comments is you just don't know if that's truly what someone is saying
Right.
and what they actually believe.
Their public opinion.
It's shocking. It's shocking to think about that because when I'm talking on the internet, I am saying my true opinion, but there are a lot of people that just want to foster the opposite opinion and see what happens when
Well,
you.
it's like how people lie in their exit polls when they vote. Like,
Oh, they
no
do?
one will like sometimes won't admit who they actually voted
Wow.
for.
Oh, I didn't know they do that. Why? Because isn't it still secretive?
Yeah, but they, I don't know. I think some people are publicly ashamed of their real opinions.
Yeah, but like when you're in that booth, you can just
You're like,
go
oh
for
yeah,
it.
MAGA baby.
Oh yeah, I voted for Biden. Yeah, yeah. What were we just saying right before this?
Tangent.
Well, just I guess what Sandoval coming back.
Right.
Just know, I can't trust like we talked about like the pro Lindsay people to bring it to Summer House
Yeah.
when you're like no one I've ever talked to in real life actually voices a pro Lindsay stance
Right.
that I've ever heard
But
in
then
my
the
life.
entire internet is
Yes.
staunchly against. I will say also on that Amy Schumer Watch What Happens, Andy asked if he was on Team Lindsay, and she said, "Is anyone Team Lindsay?" And I was like, "Okay, +1."
Amy Schumer
But
said
then
that?
seconds later, she said she's Team No One. And so she's not pro Danielle. She's just not pro Lindsay. And then she went on to talk shit on Kyle and says she doesn't like him and that it's annoying that he's always drinking Loverboy.
Amy Schumer said that.
I'm like, let him get his bag. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if other drinks are present on Summer House. I don't mind. I think it might be interesting to see other drinks other than Loverboy, but I can't imagine being anti-Kyle. And now it makes me rethink being happy when she said she's anti-Lindsay.
I know, that's the thing. It was complicated. I was like, yes. Aw.
Yeah, what does make Bravo fun is that someone could say they are the biggest Tamra fan in the world, and I'm the exact opposite. But there's room for everyone's opinions, and it's kind of fun. Like,
Yeah.
someone could, or I guess a better example is Teresa versus Melissa.
Yeah.
It's much more ambiguous.
Yeah.
I could totally imagine being a Teresa stan to the living end, and like I used to be that way.
Yeah.
But now that I'm seeing Melissa, it's like it is fun to I don't know, have a completely different opinion and respect the other person's opinion.
Right. Lindsay Hubbard might be the first one that I can't abide at all.
I know,
Like
me
if
neither.
someone said that, I'd be like, get away from me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would be very interested to know someone who justifies loving Tamra.
Okay. I don't love Tamra blindly, but I do have a little bit of a soft spot, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Should we start our
Was that
OC?
Was that a perfect
journey?
natural segue?
It was.
And right at the
Wow, almost at an hour. I hope that we our listenership didn't drop at either the submersible, Everest.
No. Oh, here's what our listener attentiveness was. Submersible went up. Then it was Everest. It's like, whoa, what the hell? It was the opposite of the peak of Everest. It went completely down.
Okay.
Then the Toast
Okay,
back up. And then I think we kept it Bravo
What about
oriented.
the Fatwa minute?
Me asking technically what a fatwa is. Oh no. and the active shooter in a theater.
Right.
Oh,
We
boy.
started off real fun.
I think it takes 10 minutes for us to get into it.
Wasn't there a Curb Your Enthusiasm Fatwa storyline?
Yeah, the full ninth season. His first season back, he gets a fatwa on him.
So Larry says we're allowed to joke about a fatwa.
Oh, you totally are. But the Salman Rushdie thing made it real
Not funny.
horrible
Yeah.
again. And Salman Rushdie was in that season of Curb.
Oh, I need to rewatch. I whenever I go to my parents' house, that's like what we watch to pass the time.
best.
And I made my dad a Father's Day card that says, "Hope your Father's Day is pretty, pretty, pretty good."
Does it have Larry's face on it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. That is so sweet. Curb is top 5, favorite show of all time.
It's great.
9 is a stinker because he was
Okay.
just coming back. 10 is an absolute classic.
What's going on there?
10 is the Latte
Latte
Larry's
Larry's.
versus Mocha Joe's feud, which is amazing. And then 11 is sort of in the middle. He's back, but it's not fully as good.
Okay.
10 is like a all-star.
Which
perfect
one
season.
talks about COVID stuff? Where he's
11.
like stockpiling.
11, I
Okay.
think. Oh boy, I don't know. 10 or 11.
I did think the KKK dry cleaning robes was pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. He gets them washed for the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
He's
great.
like, well, it's my fault.
I think my favorite season, ultimately, before we talk about Orange County, which is what everyone wants to hear us talk about potentially,
You have
is
to
the-
wait a little
Yeah,
longer.
is the Seinfeld season.
Yeah.
It's just so
I've been
fun.
getting clips from that on TikTok when he tries to play George.
Oh yeah,
It's
the
really
best.
funny.
I think my favorite moment in all of Curb is Bob Einstein telling the joke to Jerry Seinfeld. Do you remember the joke?
I think so.
It's horrible.
Isn't it like disgusting?
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. But Larry's getting so mad because the joke takes forever, and then Jerry legitimately laughs at the joke. So it was the first time he heard it, and his laugh is so amazing. I just love.
Ugh, I love Funkhauser.
It's so sad that he died.
Rip.
I mean, yeah, he was the best. All right, well, from Funkhauser to Real Housewives of Orange County, I don't know. Let's take a ad break because
Yeah.
it's a perfect ad break. and
Perfect.
I don't know if we're gonna turtle.
To piss or not to piss?
What do you think? Are you going to?
I might, just to be safe, you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to let out a little too, just so we can talk for an hour.
Do you guys want us to stop talking about this, or do you like it?
I haven't heard one negative opinion about talking about turtle piss.
Okay.
I don't look at any negative comments. I don't think people should be able to comment negatively.
We have a few on YouTube that I haven't responded to because if they have any tinge of judgment, I'm like, I have nothing to say. Like, what do you want me to do?
No, I can't take it. I love reviews and I love comments, but please, Amy and I are sensitive.
We have fragile egos.
I can't see one word bad about me. So if you're writing negative,
people want me to stop saying like. I'm sorry.
I never hear you say that.
I never do. You're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gaslighting you.
Yeah. Oh, and we didn't talk about how we resolved a huge oleato controversy. And just before we take a turtle piss, speaking of piss, I've been drinking a liquid that was 380 calories for the grande oleato. I didn't know I was having that much caloric intake.
Yeah, if you guys watch our Loverboy review on YouTube from the Patreon, I informed Riley because I always I go get us coffees before he comes to my apartment when we record. So he doesn't see in the app the way I do because I order. So I was aware that his order was 380 calories. And I just revealed that to him, that he's been drinking that weekly for a month. And he was horrified.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, drink whatever you want. I wasn't judging. I just thought, did you know that?
No. The truth is absolutely not. Had I known, I would have never had one of those. And I was drinking them every single time we would record. And I thought it was a traditional amount of calories, much lower. So the fact that it was 380 to me was significant enough to where I'm never going to drink one again.
Yeah, but then since we had our Starbucks Minute last week and then talked about it on our Patreon, then last week Katie was Instagram storying about the oleato and our DMs were flooded.
Confirmed that she's a Turtle Time listener. Right? But yeah, and so I will apologize. You know, that's why I had to use the bathroom so much.
The calories.
Anyway.
I will say, though, I've said this before, this is my urine habits minute.
Yeah.
Caffeine and alcohol are irritants. They make you pee more.
Okay.
Starbucks specifically has like triple the caffeine that normal coffee does.
Really?
So it really makes you have to pee.
Okay. So then that makes sense. So we're going to take, I don't know, like a half piss or whatever. And then we will
count
be back.
how many Mississippis.
Who?
And then we'll report when we get back.
Let's do it. Okay. I want to. You want to hear how long it's going to be amazing? And then we have 3 episodes of Real Housewives of Orange County to recap. We are in our Orange County era.
That's right.
Until Bravo feeds us something a little better.
The OG of the OC.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
20 Mississippi.
20?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
20 seconds?
Yeah.
How long was yours?
7.
7 Mississippi?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't have to go very bad. I just went like preemptively. So
you just squeaked out a little bit. Right?
20 is like all timer.
Yeah, I think I had to go more than I wanted to.
You have a great capacity.
You think? 20
Yeah.
seconds? Yeah, that wasn't even. I could.
That's like Austin Powers when he gets out of the chamber.
Yeah, he had to pee so bad because he had been cryogenically frozen for 30
That
years.
joke
Right?
used to slay me.
Yeah, it's so funny. Have you watched Austin Powers recently?
I don't know when the last time was. It hasn't been like 10 years. It's probably been like, I don't know, 5 years, but I should watch it again. They're showing it at the New Bev.
Whoa. I watched it contemporarily with my friends like 5 years ago after thinking it was the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life and loving it. And to me, it didn't hold up.
Flop?
It was in its flop era.
I don't know if there's any way I couldn't love it. It was like
Really?
my absolute favorite movie in my childhood.
Spy Who Shagged Me was my favorite movie of all time.
I had that poster.
You did?
Yeah.
Spy Who Shagged Me. I mean, Spy Who Shagged Me rips to high heaven. And Goldmember, even at the time, I was like, I love this more than life itself. The first one it was the least good to me, and the humor level to me doesn't hold up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But watch it again, maybe. You haven't seen it in 5 years?
I don't remember the last time, but recently, this makes him sound bad. Jimmy was quoting Dr. Evil when he talks about how his dad was abusive. You know, when he's like, he would drink, he would. There's some really funny.
Yeah,
things.
he's like being introspective, and he's like, he you would have a, I forget. I shot a brandy and I don't know. Yeah, whip me. I don't remember the Dr. Evil quote, but
What was it? It was like, I don't need to spend time trying to think of these Dr. Evil quotes, but they were funny, and I was LOLing at his memory of them. I was like, how do you remember these jokes?
So he was just doing Dr. Evil quotes, and you were laughing?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I also very often say, I'm very badly burned.
Yeah, that's really good. They're
Mustafa.
Yeah, oh, amazing.
Come on.
That's probably the funniest part of the Austin Powers is Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
I mean, you put Will Ferrell anywhere. and he's
Then you
gonna kill it.
have Robert Wagner,
Yes.
who maybe killed Natalie Wood, ?
Right. I mean, we have to assume he did. Right?
Yeah, it's like
And Christopher Walken was there.
he was.
And they said she
Catalina.
they said she slipped and fell. It's exactly Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was
It's true.
using the
That has to
rumors.
be-
He was using the controversy around that of like the death of someone and are they implicated in the murder,
Right.
By applying it to the Brad Pitt character. But apparently in the novel, Brad Pitt did kill his wife.
Oh, wow.
whatever his
I
name is.
have it, and I started it, and I put it down and never picked it up, but I need to just read it.
I own it too. Do you own that nice little paperback
Yeah.
copy of it? Yeah.
Yeah. I brought it on a trip, and then, as always, I never read like I think I'm going to on vacation. So,
You never do?
no.
I'm an audiobook guy now completely.
too.
I can listen 10 times more than I could ever read.
Yeah.
It's just so much more fun when I'm
Yeah.
walking around.
My eyes get tired. I fall asleep.
Me too. I start imagining the things too deeply that I'm reading and I just fall right to sleep.
I really feel like I should try harder to be an avid, like, physical book reader, because I think it's different than listening.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot more effort and it makes your brain work a little better if you're reading. But
Yeah.
listening, like I listen to The Shards and Bret Easton Ellis reads it, and there's no better way to listen to it because it's the author's voice.
Yeah.
It's so great. He's got a great voice and it's just like way more fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if we've discussed this, but both of my grandmas lived to be extremely old. They were like 97 and 98
You never told me that.
respectively. And my grandma Ruth was reading till the very end, and one time I came over to her house, and in her, like, she had a little house walker that had a cart in it, and she was in the cart. It had Far From the Madding Crowd, the book,
Oh, yeah.
which is like massive. And I was like, oh, I just saw that movie. It was the one with like Matthias Schoenaerts that came out in like 2016 or whatever.
Oh.
And so then we just like talked about Far From the Madding Crowd, because I was like, I know that story, just saw the movie. And I'm like, imagine reading a book that fat when you're 97 years old. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so. Who wrote that book? Far From a Maddening Crowd?
It's Madding
Madding Crowd.
It's Hardy
Tom,
Far.
the Hardy Boys. Thomas
did-
Hardy?
Is that a person?
Thomas Hardy. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wrote
Thomas
Tess
Hardy.
of Herbelville, and he wrote, I don't know. Okay. So
Okay, I was right.
in the movie is what came out in 2016, this old book was adapted into a movie.
Yeah, it was historical romance.
Okay.
I think it was it Carrie Mulligan? Far From the 2015. Yeah, Carrie Mulligan, Matthias
good?
Schoenaerts, Michael Sheen, Tom Sturridge. It is good. I would recommend it.
Okay. All right.
Directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Oh, he did Another Round. Have you seen that movie?
where Michael, what's his name? Matt Madison?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. He's drinking a lot, right?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
it's good.
Okay.
I watched it on a plane, but I really liked it.
All right. Wow. Good plane movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what? There is a show currently airing. It is called Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yep.
The first Bravo show. I mean, no, not the first Bravo show. The first Housewives
Yes.
show. And now it's on 17 seasons.
How crazy is that?
Yes. So crazy.
What
17
season was New
seasons.
Jersey?
What season is New Jersey on?
Yeah.
I think it's on 13.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I could be totally wrong. Around 13, and they're going to start their 14th season?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Possible.
I wrote down, I thought maybe a good place to start would be a recital. Is
Yeah.
that the right way to say it? Of the new taglines.
Sure. Yeah, go for it. That's
'Cause
awesome.
I think it's hard sometimes to decide whether a tagline is good or not.
Well, people have
Because I
different
think a lot of them are bad.
yeah, people have different criteria for what's good. I know Gina's is awful.
Oh my God.
And
The freaking noise outside today is outrageous.
There's been helicopters. There's been submersible sounds. There's been garbage. But I don't know, whatever. It's like this is a natural, fun vibe.
Okay. So, Shannon Bedore first.
Yeah.
In Orange County, I call the shots, and it's always tequila.
Okay.
What do you
That's Shannon's.
Yeah.
Shannon's had some
Does
great...
she call the shots in Orange County?
Absolutely not.
I don't
She is
think
not
so.
the shot caller of Orange County. I like the ones where it's like, before I shut the Bedore, you know the ones that use
Yeah.
your name? Or I think her last one was like the calm before the storms or whatever. I like
Yeah.
plays on her names.
I liked the one that, I don't remember the setup, but it goes like, put 9 lemons in a bowl.
Yeah, that one was great too. Commenting on that she had all those lemons in her kitchen.
Yeah.
What was the Bedore one? Do you remember? Before I shut another Bedore. I don't know. That one was
I
good.
don't remember.
I don't like
This
that
one's
one.
kind of lazy, I think. Okay. Heather Dubrow, I live my life in HD, sharp, bright, and more focused than ever.
Awful.
The fuck?
Well, HD is a play on Heather Dubrow.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, which that's awful.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I need to close the window. This shit is crazy.
All right, should I take a pause? Okay, so yeah, Heather Dubrow, I live life in HD, sharp, vibrant, and more powerful than ever. Is that what it is? Describing HD TV?
Sharp, bright, and more focused than ever.
Okay, well, she's not, I don't know. She's not living life in HD. That one's not fun. Also,
Yeah.
In Daddy Diaries, Andy talks about how, writers come up with these taglines and they
Right.
basically just say yes or no. And
Yeah,
someone
they give
picked
them some options.
Yeah, like Sheree had hers just picked out and she didn't
Right.
like it.
She wanted it changed.
But do you think like Bethany or Carol or like someone who is like more crafty with words or witty came up with their taglines? I feel like some must create their own
Right.
taglines, right?
I bet Bethany really wants to be part of that process.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
She wouldn't just let them give her some lame tagline.
Yeah, I bet they bring them to her and she's like, oh, that one's good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I do not like the Heather one. I don't think it's fun at all. And
Yeah.
awful.
Okay. Emily, if you want to waste my time, at least hand me a taco.
No, I think that's good. But a part of it is I'm biased because I love Emily.
Okay.
And I think it is referring to when she ate that submarine sandwich.
But then it should be about a sandwich. Why is it a taco?
Maybe she eats tacos a lot more. And also,
I think it was Jersey Mike's.
Yeah. So you couldn't say a brand name. You couldn't say sub.
At
'cause
least
people-
hand me Jersey Mike's.
Oh, she could have said, at least hand me a sandwich. At least hand me Jersey Mike's. And then a Jersey Mike's guy wearing an apron throws her a Jersey Mike's.
He's in the back with like her son and kids and dog.
Yeah, he's dancing with Shane, and he throws her a sandwich, and it goes up over her head, and she catches it and eats it. That would be a great way to integrate brands.
Yeah. I do love that they're kind of making food her thing,
And she
she's down.
loves it. And not to spoil it, but she gets all so frustrated when the cake gets dismantled, which I was frustrated
Don't
too.
waste it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that, but I really like her. Yeah.
I really love her, and I think that one is just so like kind of ironically good because it's pretty bad. It doesn't make any
I mean, it
sense.
doesn't make sense if you want to waste my
time,
time.
at least
So it's
hand-
like we're wasting
Yeah.
your time. Like, what is this scenario?
Why
And
couldn't
then-
it have been sandwich?
I don't know.
If you want to waste my time,
Do you think that was a note of hers? She said, "Make it a taco."
Yeah, maybe she thinks that she's famous for eating tacos, even though I don't remember. If you want to waste my time, at least let me have a sandwich while you're wasting it. Would that be too verbose, too long?
Yeah, it's just kind of a weird scenario they're playing out there.
I'd rather eat a sandwich than have you waste my time.
yeah,
But I guess
I'd
the best-
rather be. Yeah,
the best taglines have a pun
play,
in them,
yeah.
or the two
Yeah.
sentence connect in a playful
Yeah.
way, and that one just has two non sequiturs.
What's the Ramona acquire some taste one?
Yeah, that one's great. If you think I'm an acquired taste, you might just need to acquire some taste, or I mean, a better
Yeah.
way of saying that. It's something about.
Or if I'm not your taste,
Oh, right.
acquire some taste. Something like that. It was better, but
Some say I'm an acquired taste. If
if you don't like that or me,
yeah, acquire some taste.
That's good.
Classic.
It's
yeah.
good.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
We should do maybe next week or sometime somewhere our favorite taglines ever, and then maybe the worst taglines ever. Which
Yeah.
one of them was it? Charade. There's one that was so dumb. It was like, people say I'm a messy waiter because I'm always spilling the tea. I was like, that setup is insane. You're just like with a tray, like bumbling around.
People, did you say people call me a messy waiter?
Or just like, I am a messy waiter. And I'm like, what is this visual?
All of my friends call me a messy waiter because I'm always spilling the tea. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a top 5 each and a bottom 5 each.
Okay.
And tell them to each other next week if you
Okay.
want to.
Yeah.
My favorite, I'm just gonna say because I don't remember it, but I think Lisa's "Throw me to the wolves
Yeah.
and I'll come back leading the pack."
That's incredible.
Amazing. And then second best for Lisa is that's the one that first made me like want to start watching Housewives was when I would hear Lisa's tagline. It was I love dogs, but I'm not too fond of bitches. That's
Yeah.
the perfect tagline.
Yeah.
A play on the 2 sentences. She does love dogs.
Yeah.
Bitches and dogs.
And life's not all diamonds and rosé, but it should be.
That's amazing too. And that created a book title.
Exactly. Lisa's, I mean, again, if we're talking someone that probably has a opinion about hers,
Yeah.
she's definitely part of it.
Yeah, and the fact that we remember 3 of them.
I know, I
means they're
can't
iconic.
name almost any because my
Yeah.
brain
Except
throws
I
them
love
in the
that
trash.
Shannon Bedore one that I can't remember. Whatever.
I will look it up. My favorite, one time on Twitter, there was a thread of favorite housewives moments. It was just one of those viral threads where people kept adding to it.
Yeah.
And it was like, what's like a housewife line or moment that lives in your head rent free? And my contribution that ended up blowing up was Candy's intro where she goes, it goes, I may be small, ho, but my empire keeps on growing.
Oh yeah, that one is so good.
When you watch, like I was binging
Did you write out
during,
the ho?
I put like big O,
Yeah.
little O, big O, little O, because she goes, it's like, I may be small, and then it shows her in the recording booth, and she
Yes.
goes, ho.
Yeah, why did they let her add an inserted sound of her singing?
So funny.
Yeah, it
it's
is
so weird.
Yeah, it is good. Oh, Nini's got some great ones.
Oh yeah. Ugh. Now I want to watch them all, but I'm gonna keep going down the list.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay. Gina's is it's a lot. The
I hate it.
the difference between my past and present, well, that's just apples and oranges.
The difference between my past and present, for those of you who are asking, it's like a complete non sequitur, are apples and oranges. So it's relating that the fact that she's on the OC, but she came from New York.
and OC.
But she wasn't on New York, so it sort of doesn't make sense. She's just from New York. Yeah, I think it's very bad. And also, I don't think people like necessarily always remember that Gina's from New York, and it's
Yeah.
not like a huge part of her persona.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to do too much mental gymnastics on that one.
It's not very fun.
No. Jen's is my core may be strong, but my resilience is stronger because she's like fit.
Yeah, and that's not good.
And
I
boring.
love Jen so much. I think she's a great cast member.
Yeah.
But, her core is strong. I mean, you can't just say this is blank and then this is blanker with that same word. That's not fun. I mean,
Right.
but Bravo people are writing these.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
We need a revamp. Okay, and then Tamara's, which I'm sure it'll remind you of something. There was a comment about this. Tamara's is, I might have been on pause, but now I'm ready to play, which
Dorinda said that?
is Dorinda's on pause, but then didn't,
First of all, she was fired. Andy says it in Daddy Diaries. She was fully fired.
Right.
It wasn't a pause. She was never coming back.
and then Rinna was like, put me on pause.
Now everybody says pause because Dorinda, I think, brought pause into the ether
Right.
because
Because
she was put on pause.
She was like trying to, when people would say that she was fired, she would say, I'm on pause,
Yeah,
I'm on
but
pause.
she
And everyone was
was.
like, what the fuck? Okay.
She was in the book in Not All Diamonds and Rosé. They said, Dorinda, you are coming off way too hot on Tinsley. You are,
Yeah.
You look like you're beating a little puppy that can't fight back for yourself. The way you are going after Tinsley,
Yeah.
I think you need a break. She also broke the fourth wall in that final scene. She was too too hot. She's running way too hot. They're
Yeah.
like, give her a break. And I do believe that Andy said, you're just on pause. You just need to take a couple
He wants her
seasons."
back for sure.
Yes, Dorinda is like, every time you're watching her for 1 second, she's providing so much drama. That's why I thought Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2 was so good. The
Okay.
power of that fired cast.
Yeah.
Have you only watched it once?
Only once, yeah.
Oh, man, it rips. It's so good.
Well, that's what Taylor's from, right?
Yeah, she was on UGT Season 2 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Tamra, I actually really liked Tamra on UGT Season 2 because she was more subdued and
Mm-hmm.
like, but then I didn't know. I hadn't watched OC at that time. And like Tamra
Okay.
is just, I don't know. She's a hard pill to swallow for me.
Okay, a demon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Demon, total demon.
All right. Well, yeah.
that
I
was
thought-
all the taglines?
Yeah.
6 stinkers. How many were there?
Yeah, 6.
6 stinkers, besides ironically enjoying Emily's.
Yeah, I think Tamra did make a comment that she knew that it sounded like what Dorinda said, and they were like, "We don't care."
We don't care. That's a good one. Do you remember when the taglines, like of the OC, the early seasons, they didn't have taglines. They just had a snippet of what they were saying, and
they
it was
were
just like,
so bad.
yeah, it was just like, I like buying stuff for my family. Like
Yeah.
they didn't know what taglines
It would be like
were gonna
shitty audio.
be. Yeah.
Because it would just be pulled from the show audio. Yeah, it would be like, "We need more orange juice."
We're running low on orange juice, honey. It's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
I watched it on TV last night or Tuesday night, and then I rewatched it on Peacock this morning.
Me
So
too.
it was the Pumped Up. They are just gonna. I thought Pumped Up was just for Vanderpump, but
Yeah.
I guess that's just the new way of the
But
world.
they're calling it just never before scenes.
Yes.
Now Peacock only airs the extended, never
Right.
before scene.
Which is cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But they don't show the taglines on Peacock.
They don't?
Did you see them?
Yeah, I don't remember. I guess I didn't care if I
'Cause
missed them, but
when I watched it
Oh.
on TV, I was like, "Oh yeah, the taglines," and then that's when I started to be like, "Oh, we should talk about the taglines." And then I was like, when I watch it on Peacock, I'll write them down when they play, and they didn't play.
maybe on the never before scenes that Bravo airs, the never before scene edition, they don't include the taglines because
They need the time.
we think we've
Or-
yes, that, and then they think we've already seen them on the proper episode, and then Peacock is only pulling the never before scenes because they had so much success with the pumped up editions, and they just don't happen to have the
Right.
taglines there.
And then sometimes the first 1 or 2 episodes don't have the taglines, like,
right.
and then they introduce them later for some reason, which I don't really get.
I think, yeah, what would be the rationale for that? I was thinking that it's because they don't know who's going to be a friend of and who's going to be a full-time cast member when there's some ambiguousness. But by the time it's airing, they're still finishing up the season, right? It's not fully locked because
guess,
Sandoval was still being Vanderpump Rules was still being edited
Right.
when it was airing. So
Right.
maybe they're not sure.
Who has an orange, so to speak?
Yes. And there's the friend ofs on Orange County, like they're not even a presence. Like there's 2 people that they're like trying, but they don't even get like one word. Like
Right.
there's someone in the back seat of like when Heather is like driving somewhere and like she says one line, but I don't even think they like tried with friends of. It doesn't seem
Right.
like.
I mean, Taylor's a friend of, though. Right?
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a friend of.
She's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
I guess.
major.
She probably took the place of
Yeah.
a friend of.
Yeah, because at first I was like, wait, she's not a housewife, right? And then when I watched the tagline,
She's getting a lot of screen time for a
No, totally.
friend of.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, she's Bravo talent, so they're gonna lean on that. And I loved. We'll get to this, but when they introduced her, her lower third says Tamra's friend.
Oh, that's so. That's so
I love
fun.
how they have to have someone pegged to someone else.
Yeah, she's Tamra's friend.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
She's been a housewife like longer than a lot of these women, but
yeah.
okay. So I guess we can kind of just breeze through. I watched all 3 that have aired so far,
Same
and we
here.
can do kind of general thoughts of the first couple. So, but going in, so straight out the gates, you have always hated Tamra since day 1.
So it's hard to say that you dislike a cast member when they're so essential to the show and they've been a part of the entire thing. Like, because we always talk about like hating Kyle on Summer House. It's like,
Right.
how can you hate him? He's brought so much or whatever. So I respect Tamra's presence on the show for as long as it happened. She did some of the most heinous things I think that have ever been created in Bravo, done in Bravo history.
The Naked Wasted.
Naked Wasted was so awful. And for the most part, I find her to be really fake, and I don't trust anything she says, and I don't believe her stance on anything is actually her feelings. I think she is just purely running off what she thinks is going to be entertaining for the show. And eventually, I think that entertainment brain that was just like every scene has to be exciting and we have to be drunk and we have to be screaming. Eventually, that's what got her kicked off the show. Andy was like, "You're fired."
You fired.
You fired. And then I don't see her learning from that mistake. I see the same instincts that I thought were so embarrassing to watch at a certain point and so craven to be dramatic and to be kept on the show. I mean, her, Vicky, and Shannon were really such an embarrassing trio towards the end of their run.
You don't love the Tres Amigas?
I think that they are great individually, but when they get jealous of new cast members, like when Gina and Emily got put on, they were so trying to take up all the oxygen in the room that they wouldn't even let the camera be on them for 1 second because they want to be screaming, doing shots. Like there's a scene where they're all at a restaurant and Megan King Edmonds is there because she was like being tested as like a friend of or whatever. They were really like trying something with Orange County on the final seasons with Vicky and Tamara. And they're for no reason, they are just like drunk and screaming and falling on the floor, like just trying to have that party vibe. And it has no, there's no rationale for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is why they were fired.
Right. I will say, specifically, Vicky and Shannon have they love to do like pratfalls.
Yes.
And Shannon in these episodes does a few physical comedy moments where I'm just like, why is this your thing? It's so silly.
So you think they're inorganic?
Yes.
Like when
they had Shannon doing yoga and she's like, whoa.
Yeah, she does like she does like physical comedy a little bit.
And then they played it up. This is moving ahead to, I think, the second episode. Her boyfriend John says, "This curb is high."
That's the third episode.
The curb is high, so you're gonna have to climb over to the driver's seat to get out. I'm like, pull up and let her out, bitch. Like that's what you do. You don't force her to climb over like a buffoon.
So you think all of the like yoga poses and her falling, all that stuff is just fake? She's just doing it?
She plays it up hardcore.
Like when she's falling in the sand, like she does that when they go to like Mexico in last season. She's like falling off her chair.
Always.
Being silly. And
there's a Vicky montage of her falling over. There's like a billion.
But when Vicky falls at that in the first
well,
season,
that's upsetting. That was real.
That was an awful fall.
She breaks her award. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
She was receiving like a Kodo Insurance lifetime award, and she immediately after accepting it eats shit and drops it in a embrace.
That was so sad. Vicky is so
I hated that.
Yeah,
remember
Vicky is
the party that Vicky has?
Yes.
And she's trying to make the entrance,
Yes.
and no one will pay attention.
I was just thinking,
she's like, "I'm here."
It's the exact same thing. She goes, "Why isn't nobody looking at me? Please look at me." Vicky is treated so badly on the
She's
show.
a demon.
What, you think so? Why?
Oh, come on.
Why do you think Vicky's a demon?
She is.
In what way?
Okay, talk about hating new people. Vicky will not give any bitch a minute when they're new.
I think that's endearing when it comes to Vicky. Because she has already set herself up as she's very open about being jealous. She's very open. She's self-aware enough to say she's threatened by other women. You're right. She's horrible to newbies. Although she was so nice to Shannon, and they show it all the time. She just bonded with Shannon.
Yeah.
Immediately. She was nice to her. So I think sometimes there's just people that Vicky doesn't fuck with.
Yeah.
But okay. But you don't like Vicky just generally at all? Because talk about integral to the entire show.
No, totally. She's the OG of the OC.
She's 60% of the fuel of 10 seasons of the OC, I would say.
No, for sure. It's just she has that head honcho mentality where, she is one of the people that got kind of too big for the show and just thought the world should revolve around her. So
I think she was also, I think it's confirmed. She was like the highest paid, and she got to a rate where they were like, Vicky isn't justifying how much money we're spending. Same with Cynthia Bailey.
She's a good businesswoman. Oh, really?
Cynthia Bailey got by the time she got to her 8th season or whatever, the amount of entertainment Cynthia was bringing did not justify the $150,000 an episode or whatever, you know? So at a certain point, they just have to make the decision where this legacy person is not justifying their rate.
Right.
But then like people like Teresa, they justify their rate times 10. And
Right.
they're like, you know.
Yeah, or like a Bethany who I feel like, do you think, well, I guess now everything's different. I was going to say, could Bethany ever come back? But now I don't even know what's going on.
Well, Bethany fully said, she said she's open to it. She said,
Yeah.
make me your best offer me $5 million. And
I could see it.
I mean, depending on if New Roni is a full-blown flop, which there's a 50% chance that's the case. I mean, I would almost say there's a 60% chance that that's going to be bad.
Right.
I'm keeping my expectations level, but
Yeah.
if it flops, who knows? They're probably just going to bring all the people back with and then offer
They
Bethany
should do
$5
the
million.
original cast exactly.
Yes. Are you talking to Alex and Simon?
Yeah.
I think my favorite era is the Dorinda, Tinsley, Carol, Bethany, Luann, Sonia, and Ramona. That's
fun.
That like
So many.
6 to 8, season 6 to 8 era or whatever. That was an iconic era
That's
for me.
fun. Yeah. That's good times.
Alex and Simon, I love them ironically.
Yeah.
They're cringe.
I'm curious what she'll bring to the girls' trip.
I think that girls' trip, they're going to have trouble because there was a credible sexual harassment case made on that trip. Did you hear about that?
No.
Brandy Glanville.
Oh, to Caroline.
Brandy Glanville was being fun. Let's put that in quotes. Which, you know.
She has issues with boundaries.
Oh my God. Don't get me started on when she slapped Lisa in the face. Talk about chills.
Terrible.
Awful. But yeah, she was doing the thing which they did in Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2 a lot. The sort of like grinding on each other and being sexual, feeling up each other. Brandy decided to do that to Caroline Manzo, which, you know, Caroline Manzo does not want that.
She
you know?
wasn't having
and,
it. She was pissed.
And it makes complete sense. Like, why the hell am I being touched by another cast member? And in this, you know, in this climate, I think it's fully acceptable that she should not have to deal with Brandy touching her if she doesn't want it.
It's Michael Darby vibes.
Totally. and then so they're gonna I don't even know if Brandy will be able to be in the edit because it's not gonna make sense when she has to. She got
shipped
fired.
back.
She got shipped back.
Damn.
Yeah. So
all right. Well, we'll see about all that. That's crazy.
so what led me to there?
Tamra.
Oh, right.
I rewatched OC, I don't know, sometime in the past 2 years. And when I was watching it, I was struck by Tamra's journey this time around, watching it all back to back. And I will say, I get what you're saying. I think she's unhinged. She definitely tries hard to like self-produce, to stir the pot.
I think her
etc.
unhingedness though is fake.
Right.
It's performative.
Yeah. Except, I mean, when she gets drunk, which she does, like that happens on the boat this season, that's like her eyes are no longer with us, and that felt real to me.
Yeah, the demon that lives inside her starts to awaken.
Run around for sure. But like, I just think similar, not as much as obviously someone like Teresa literally went to jail, but you know, when Teresa lists out what she's brought to the show and she's like, I got divorced on the show, I got married on the show, I went to jail on the show, like all that stuff. Like I feel like Tamra has similar like leg to stand on,
like her
with
divorce.
that. Like her divorce was like gnarly. Like
Yeah.
watching her relationship with Simon unfold was good TV.
Yes.
When they're in the limo and she goes, I want a fucking divorce. Like that's amazing. That's like a major moment. She was maybe the first housewife to throw a drink in someone's face.
That was awful.
Which is bad, but that's iconic. That's what I mean, I know that's
but
Andy hates that. He does
it's
not.
performative.
Right, but she was first. That's what shows that make fun of housewives, that's what they would do.
Yeah, but
it's become a trope.
Right. But isn't that bad? That's something that was cliche and became a trope that Andy hates that was awful.
Memorable though. Cease and desist. Ceased and deceased.
That was when
It was to
Gina Keogh?
Yeah.
Gina Keogh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awful. I mean, but I guess a good
I'm just
moment
saying,
of
I'm
television.
going through as far as like, she has a lot of memorable moments. Like, her son is a problematic freak. She falls in love again and gets engaged on the show. There's just
Bass Lake.
Her and Vicky.
I mean, she's a villain.
I don't think she's a villain.
I mean, I think she is the villain of the OC. Technically, remember Gretchen's entrance? She is so awful to Gretchen.
Yeah.
The Bass Lake.
I know
thing.
that Naked Wasted is your.
You think that's bad, right?
It's bad, but I feel like it really hurts your soul on a level that it doesn't hurt mine.
Okay.
Even though I'm a woman.
Gretchen is blackout drunk. When Tamara lies about being blackout drunk, Gretchen was actually blackout drunk on camera. She has a fiance. She is pushing her son, her disgusting.
How old was he? Like 22 or something?
22. Her disgusting son, basically into the room with her to try to take advantage of Gretchen while she's drunk so that she will cheat on her fiance drunkenly on camera.
It's so bad.
And you hear Gretchen saying no. In her drunken brain, she's saying, no, please, I don't want to do this. And, oh my God. And then, I mean, Tamara got out of that one.
Yeah.
Tamara, like, culture was not even ready to lay the verdict down on that one. I think that is so awful, and still it hasn't been assessed properly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would love all those moments. I would love everything you said. If I thought she threw a drink, when Brandy threw a drink at Eileen Davidson, I actually thought that was Brandy is so reactive that I actually believe that drink throw more. I just think in her brain she thought that was entertaining, but not necessarily.
You thought it was like the leg throw.
Yeah, no, the leg throw was performative.
That's what I mean.
Oh no. So
for Tamara.
Yes. Tamara, all of her moments, I just don't believe that she's actually feeling the way she feels. With Vicky, I know 100% everything Vicky says, 90%, is legitimately coming from how she feels, how she acts. When she's bad, it's because she's actually being bad. When she's being good, she's being good. With Tamara, I have no clue how she actually feels. I feel like she would drop a friend, like a bad habit, if it was a good storyline, just to fuck with them. And so just because I don't believe her, it makes all those moments negated in my mind.
I just feel like she has had some emotionally honest moments. Like, remember when she speaks at that like women's conference about her like abuse or her and like her childhood, and you know, she was a teen mom and her real name is Tammy Sue or whatever, and they only call her Tamara because there was a different Tammy on season 1.
Oh my God.
Tammy Knickerbocker.
Oh,
that's like why they call her Tamara.
Oh wow.
Like,
so
her
she
name
would have
was
been
Tammy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So now she just has to become Tamara. Wow.
New identity.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I get it.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to. If people love Tamara, go for it. I personally, I
think she's good for the Bravo toolbox, like the way her and Andy have made out. We have her breast implants in the clubhouse.
When did Andy and Tamara make out?
It was on like an old OG Watch What Happens Live New Year's episode. They like made out. There's footage.
Wow.
And she's shown him, as he says, I think in his book and elsewhere, he's seen every iteration of her tits. She always shows him.
Didn't he say that he's the most sexually attracted to Tamara out of all the housewives?
They have like the energy. So, I don't know. She just is so, to me, part of the pantheon.
Yes.
That I have to.
I agree.
Be down.
I agree. I wish with a better cast, if this was a better season and there was a better cast, Tamara was a part of it and she was a little more genuine. I think Tamara would be an amazing asset to the season.
Yeah.
But now with Tamara being the focus, she feels so compelled to create drama that it's just hard for me to watch and rally behind, because I know she's playing it up for views, and it leads to, which I'm just going to say, the cake throwing thing at the end of this episode, last week's episode, or last night's episode, was so awful. And it encapsulates everything that I think is wrong with Tamara's demeanor on the show. Yeah. It was unprovoked. It was lame. Mm-hmm. so lame.
Yeah.
Like, right? Shockingly lame. She puts it on her own face. She puts it on, there's no need for a cake fight. I
Yeah.
think she just thought her party was lame and a dud and no drama came from it. And she was like, I'm going to go out with the party vibe. Like, we're drunk and celebrating or whatever. And it just sucked completely.
Yeah. If I were there, I'd be like, get the fuck away from me.
Shannon did, and Heather did. They're like, and Taylor, they were like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing this. Goodbye. End of party.
Yeah. Gina was like, why? Okay. I'm just going to like sort of breeze through anything I wrote down from the first couple, and then we can talk the most recent. Does that work?
Yeah, I guess let's just talk generally about what's happened. I mean, I feel like these 3 episodes just feel like one episode
Mushed
in terms
together.
of what in terms of like what drama they're bringing. Like, they're not really separated. The big through line is Shannon and Tamra's relationship.
Right. Which is a pretty boring feud because it doesn't really add up to much.
And yeah, and you know, I've already said this, but the Tres Amigas are on tour together, Vicky, Tamra, and Shannon. So we know ultimately they're fine. So watching them go through this charade is ridiculous. We know they're ultimately friends again.
Yeah. I'll just say the opening line of this season is Tamra says that when I left this show, I was in a bush.
Yeah.
Which I had forgotten about.
Me too.
That's one in the Mount Everest of housewife bush moments.
Yes.
The only other one I can think of is Luann falling into a bush.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, the Mount Everest. There's just those 2 moments. I mean, I have no clue why Tamra was in a bush, and I know it's because it was completely unprovoked and there was no reason for it. And she just ran into the bush to make a scene.
Yeah.
Like her running, they show that moment of her running from some fight or whatever. And I remember that moment, and it was completely
at the resort. Was that in Mexico?
Yeah, she like just doesn't want to talk about something.
She's running so fast. Like, that's such a good gif, you know, for texting. She just is running so fast. She's carrying her shoes in her hand.
Or her like panting and hyperventilating after Kelly said something horrible to her. It's just all to me.
But she does have the quotables. That's my opinion.
I was just gonna bring that up. What is that in response to?
I don't remember.
Why is just Tamra yelling, "That's my opinion," really loud, an iconic moment?
Fuck you!
Why is that an iconic moment?
It's funny.
Yeah, I guess I think iconic moments for me need more context. It can't just be
you prefer Vicky's like, "You're my soulmate, my girlfriend, my sister."
Yes. When is that moment?
That's about when Tamra doesn't like Brooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll take Vicky dancing when that ringtone plays because they're trying to party and have more fun than Gina and Emily or whatever as 10 times more iconic than That's My Opinion from Tamra. That's just the way I judge things.
Okay. Well, that's funny because this episode is called Here Comes the Judge.
And it's called that because Tamra's last name is Judge.
That's right.
Yeah.
What was it before?
Okay, so Simon's name was Simon, wasn't Cowell. It wasn't Says.
Barney. Tamra Barney.
And she got mad that Bethany called her Tamra Barney or something recently. But anyway, Tamra Judge. Do you like Eddie?
I have my eye on Eddie.
I don't like him at all.
Yeah. He's kind of creepy.
He's creepy. He provides no fun. He's being really weird around Tamra.
He seems kind of mean.
Seems secretly mean. He's turned his back on everyone. He doesn't like Shannon. He doesn't like Vicky. So I think he's awful in that regard. And I think he's playing up this like horny vibe that they have the entire time. This whole scene.
Yeah. I wrote down, they were talking about, because her mom moved in with them and they keep talking about how her mom is fucking her younger boyfriend downstairs. And then whenever they show the picture of her mom's quote younger boyfriend, it's the most like, it's such a bad photo of this man who's like the least glamorous man you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it's like they just went to his like Facebook where his like son took a photo of him and they just like pulled that off. He just looks like a normal guy, but the way they're acting around the way they're talking about humping and all this stuff and gags in their mouths, it's just
I know. Well, her mom got a zinger in though because Eddie said for some reason he says, "I don't do anal," and then Vicky's mom goes, "That's not what I heard about you," which callback to, was that Vicky spreading that rumor?
Who does anal?
There was that whole gay rumor that Eddie was fucking that other guy.
And then they show that photo of him from his from like his talent show in high school or whatever. Wow, is that what she's referencing?
That's what I thought.
Oh wow.
And then it's revealed that her mom works at Costco, which I love.
Yeah, and she says, Eddie, you can get a job with me. So this scene
Real
is
Housewives of Costco.
oh, that would be kind of fun, right?
Love that.
This scene, this introduction to Tamara again, is talking about what's happened, what's transpired, and it's been kind of a flop era.
Yeah.
Cut is closed. We cut.
Don't get me started on that pun.
We cut it closed. We find out the cut is closed. We find out that they downgraded their home. They were living in Coda de Casa. What's
Ladera?
Ladera?
No.
They were living.
Yeah.
They had they upgraded and then they went downgraded.
Yeah.
Then they had to sell Sandy's. Is Sandy Tamara's mom's name?
Yeah.
Sandy's condo. She's living with them. That's why they're having sex and hearing it through the walls. And so
and their dog died.
Yeah.
Bronx.
Okay, that's sad. That's not a part of their flop era. That's just
Well,
sad.
that's just like life is hard right now.
Yeah, that's a sad era. Also, I'm noticing for these full, like we'll get back into the episode, but the full 3 episodes, there's so many Tamara flashback scenes that like didn't work or didn't make it. So I feel like producers were filming a lot with Tamara, and then there was a lot that was just like, hey, this is not bringing it. There's more Tamara flashback scenes that I've seen than for any other cast member in the past.
Wow.
'Cause flashbacks are, in my opinion, they're scenes that were too shitty that they just want to reference for like 30 seconds. And Tamara has a lot of those, these first 3 episodes. It was almost like there was 2 weeks of filming with Tamara beforehand and almost everything got scrapped.
Right.
Because it was just not bringing it.
Well, it's interesting now watching the never before scene too, because that's, I guess, all that those are, and on when you watch it, they signify when something is never before seen. And as we learned with the Sandoval never before seen, there's some stuff in there that you're like, would have loved to see that.
Yeah, same here. But so far, the never before scenes in OC, it's
the only one. I guess we can just kind of blur between the episodes, but when they showed Jen's conversation with her ex, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to? Can we talk about Jen generally?
Sure.
Since we're talking about. So I think I'll just go first. I think Jen is a great housewife, especially for this cast now.
Yeah.
I think her home life is actually interesting.
Yeah.
I loved her relationship with Dominic, her little foster boy.
So
that was
cute.
That was so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that they're eating chips and cheese for dinner all the time. I sort of don't get a weird, creepy vibe from Ryan yet.
Right.
I think they cast her because of this relationship. They think that there could be some fragmenting that happens here. And also the fact that she lives in a house with her husband. Like, she has all the hallmarks of a
Right.
great cast member. And so far, she's ignored the impulse to be overly dramatic, which a lot of first season housewives do. She's not taken the bait on a lot of stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
She only got legitimately mad when Shannon took was distracted when she was like telling her story, which was a legitimate thing to be
Totally
dramatic about.
Yeah, and she's seemingly a true friend of a cast member. Like,
Yes.
they're getting into this infidelity drama, and it's revealed that her and Tamra had a falling out because of that. So
Yes.
I'm like, that was drama that was happening off the show, so that's a good sign that moving forward there could be something
So
there.
do you like Jen overall?
I do. And yeah, I thought that the foster adoption stuff is so compelling.
Yeah.
Because you're like automatically on her side, regardless of if she cheated on her husband. It's like, okay, that sucks, whatever. But they cut to her family life, and it's so sweet. And I'm like, you have no choice but to say she has a heart of gold.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, yeah, she got like, she seems so endearing to me. Well, you can just tell. Like, I can just tell from her interactions with Dominic that she's, a great mom. She loves him so much. She seems really sweet. I think she's fun enough. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. And then they showed that I think they could have helped her out by keeping that scene in with her and her husband, ex-husband, because they seem to have totally forgiven each other and moved on.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't really care if Gina thinks it's offensive that she cheated on her husband. Like, that's their business, and they seem to have worked it out. Like, I don't really care. I'm not like, the fidelity police.
I know, and I'm thinking this, like, I had the exact same reaction. Like, I do not want to get into the timeline of this cheating thing because I'm just fine with whatever Jen says, and I think it's abhorrent that Gina is trying to make it a big deal, like, and string it out for the season. I mean, Gina is the worst.
She's like meddling.
Yeah, I mean,
season.
in a completely unsubtle, inorganic way.
Yeah,
like awful.
It's because she's not drinking.
She's what? Oh,
she's not drinking. She has to have a project.
Yeah, let her drink. She needs to drink a little bit. Oh man, what was I gonna say? Oh, but it's interesting that Sandoval was like the thing that erupted that we all have the most opinions about, and we care so much about the timeline, and it's the most the wildest thing we've ever had. And then because this has happened in the past on OC, I don't give a shit about it for some reason.
That guy lives in Oklahoma now. Like, he's long gone. I don't care.
Right. I don't care at all.
Yeah.
And I understand why they want to make it a big deal, but for some reason, like, because I dislike Gina so much, her handling of it is just makes it seem so.
I'm like, get a life.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, get a life.
One thing I loved about Jen was on the beginning of the second episode, Emily and Jen meet up for drinks and they order a cocktail and a Diet Coke, which is the move.
Yeah.
I love doing
that.
And
they sort of bond about it. They talk about it.
They said it's because we're like Midwestern girls.
Yeah. So we're on the first episode. So let's go through it generally. We don't have to be so, all 3 episodes unless you want to be more general.
No, I'm just kind of browsing. I looked through my like Jen notes.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, one thing I noticed about the Peacock, did you like their little coming up next tags on there was a little chyron at the bottom that said coming up next in text. And so when they're after they show her scene with her ex-husband, it said coming up next, Emily prefers a spicy affair over an emotional one. And then it gets eventually, it's like that anti-cheating conversation, and they're saying how a sexual affair isn't as offensive as an emotional one.
Right. Jen agrees that an emotional affair is cheating and is just as awful as a sexual affair, because she's saying that her infidelity was only emotional. I mean, texting, sending photos or whatever, which the other cast members don't believe.
Right.
And then is it Emily who says she'd much rather bang it out with somebody else and not have... I mean, I guess that's still an emotional affair, right?
I just think these little coming up next, they're very funny. Like, I wrote down...
That's for the... Because they are identifying what the never before seen is, right?
Yeah. But it's, like, funny that they're such specific... It's like... the next one, I wrote them all down. One says, coming up next, Tamra's triggered by good intentions. One of them says, coming up next, steamy sauna secrets with Jen and Ryan.
I don't remember any of these scenes.
One says, coming up, is Shannon emphatically an empath?
Oh, yeah, I watched that one. That was when she was crystal shopping.
Exactly. The last one is, coming up, panty dropping moms exposed.
Panty dropping moms exposed. That was when Emily took off her underwear at the Cut Fitness party because it was so hot, sweltering in there.
That was so gross. She took them out of her purse and dangled them, and Tamra sniffed them.
Yeah, Tamra goes, I got a whiff of that.
And she goes, just kidding, there was no smell.
She did say that?
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't know she retracted that.
I think she was like, I don't want people talking that you have stanky underwear.
Oh, that was nice of Tamra. Right?
Yeah. You'll give her that.
Yeah, I'll give her that. My episode 1 notes, for some reason, I think I have to defer to you.
There's barely anything. I just wrote down Archie's back. I love Archie.
I love Archie too, and I have an Archie, so I love seeing
exactly. Archie. Yeah, I wrote down yoga, Shannon falling over.
Yeah, and the yoga scene was the first time... Oh, no. Tamra and Shannon had already met for lunch in this first episode, and they agreed to have a truce or whatever, right? And then...
I thought that the yoga was the first time. And that's why she was so scared.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And then they make plans to meet up.
But then Tamra is talking shit at the buffet table at the yoga. That yoga event was kind of interesting. It had food. It seemed like a big
and alcohol.
Yeah, and then Tamra's talking shit, and they do this edit to show that how Shannon was coming into the scene, I guess, when she was like not supposed to or whatever, and so she completely overheard Tamara.
Yeah, Gina's like, we aren't supposed to talk shit next to the food,
right?
But yeah, that was the first episode. Was all just introduction. I feel like we can breeze past.
Okay, all right.
We've already started talking about some of the episode 2 stuff. I did notice when Heather has that entire, it's like they're in a freaking warehouse of college supplies, but all their entertainment posters in the back that are like the Dubrow diet.
Yes,
like,
I know.
Botched. Like, and I'm like, I want a Dubrow diet poster.
You do?
Should we go on the Dubrow diet for the pod?
Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to. And that could tie into our Everest trip if we wanted to do that. Because we'd be, I don't know,
get fit for
or
Everest. Yeah.
We talked shit about Gina. I talked shit about Tamara.
Yeah.
We both love Emily. We both love Jen.
Yeah.
But there's an elephant in the room here. What the hell do you think about Heather?
Again, I don't hate her like you do.
I hate strong. I don't hate her. I think she's overrated.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she definitely gets big for her britches and has that thing of like the Carol Radziwill thing where they think.
Don't talk shit about Carol and
just
Heather
in the
together.
Sense that they both think they're they're classier than everyone else, despite the fact that they are housewives.
Right.
Which, regardless of what you say, if you sign on the dotted line to be a real housewife, like, you're not that classy.
Yeah. I mean, Carol definitely, I guess, played that card a lot. Heather does that. I just think that I think that I don't know what it is. I just don't think Heather brings a lot of entertainment. And like in this second episode, she interrupts Emily, I think, twice because I think the focus is on Emily and Tamara for too long.
Yeah.
And I feel like she is desperate for the
They
attention
call
of
her
the
out.
camera.
They
Yeah,
said
which
she's a interrupter.
Yeah, which I really liked. I don't know. Yeah, I guess just I don't know.
I mean, remember when she kicks Shannon out of her house in that early season when she's like, I think that you should leave. And
Yeah.
Shannon's like, wow.
Yeah.
That is entertaining.
Yeah, that was great. Shannon, I think, is a perfect housewife. Like because she's self-aware enough and funny enough to where she knows when she's being silly, but then she also can be really embarrassing and lame.
She's a mess.
Yeah, and she's a mess. But yeah, and it's just for some reason it's always fun to watch. And she has such a unique personality that not a lot of other people have. Like Shannon is the perfect housewife to me.
Remember when she has it was like a 1-season wonder, the pageant girl Lizzie, was that her name? When Shannon has a mental break at Lizzie's house.
What was the mental break about?
She just starts like freaking the fuck out, and then Shannon and Heather and Terry are like, I think she's in psychosis. Like they start like diagnosing her, and like they're like, should we call 911?
Wow. Yeah, I guess I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't really like. I think Heather is overrated. I think she's very neutral, and I don't think that there should have been the big rolling out the carpet for Heather to be back. And they were really kissing her ass last season. Like, they were treating it like it was the Heather show,
right?
And she didn't bring enough to have that sort of focus to me.
Do you think she pushed the cameraman? Like,
no,
what's her name said?
Absolutely not, Noella. That was completely in Noella's brain. But her, and she is so self-satisfied.
Totally.
And she thinks she is the coolest person that's ever lived, which is actually kind of funny to watch, to see someone think so highly of themselves. Yeah. It's a little ridiculous.
When it's like you were on like 2 botched sitcoms.
They show that was amazing. They show her headshots. She was on NBC's Carly.
One was Jenny.
It's like for YouTube, it's like this. It's like Heather was on NBC's Jenny, and she's going. And then it
looks like fake.
She was also on Charlie and Charlie, and it's like it says the
they
time.
should put them on Peacock.
Yeah, it says 1994 to 1994 and a half. Like it was. They didn't even get past.
I wrote it down. NBC's Jenny was on in 97, and the CBS pilot Carly was on in 98. And I said she's like a bizarro Courtney Cox. Like
totally.
Isn't it so crazy though? Someone like her is a perfect example of what could have been or what could not have been for anyone that turned into a huge star. Like, she has all the makings to have been on like, she probably auditioned for Friends,
She
or
did.
you know what I mean? Like,
But I don't think she does. I don't
no,
think
but
she,
I just mean I feel like it's so
yes, revolving door or whatever.
like, yeah, there are, it's like the butterfly effect of, like, she was on the razor's edge
Yeah.
of if she was on a show that would have hit.
But if she would have been
could have been so famous.
Yeah, but if she would have been cast as Monica on the 4th episode of the first season, they said Monica had to go to a ranch to start farming with cows, and then here's Ross's other sister.
Wow, so you not only think she's annoying, but you think she's a bad actress? Did you watch her Hot in Cleveland stint?
Heather, Terry, stop listening right now. I know you love Turtle Time, but I am going to offer a hot take, unfortunately. Heather is not a good actor.
You wouldn't cast her?
No, because she's not a nuanced performer. She can only be herself. If you wanted to cast her as Heather Dubrow or change her name to Holly what would be a good D last name?
I was going to say Debevics, like Ed Debevics.
Yeah. And make it a show revolving around her life, a fictional life, and she plays herself. That would be great. But even in Hot in Cleveland, which I think is a phenomenal show, she is one note, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I can
never
see
watched
why
it.
she didn't have a career. No, it's.
Do you think we can find NBC's Jenny and the pilot of Carly and watch it?
Yeah, but we'd have to go to NBC. It's on one VHS tape in the janitor's closet, but we could get it and we should watch it.
Driving to Universal City right after this.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, no, I totally understand why Heather's movie career and TV career stalled. I just think she doesn't have a lot of range as an actor.
Right. It's just funny, yeah, that, like, she's essentially she got farther than a lot of people that come to LA, you know, but essentially she just participated in pilot season the way everyone does.
Yeah.
And now she's acting like she has this storied past. I mean, she's a career actress. That's legit, because these things keep happening where, like with this Taylor movie thing, she is in the right a little bit to be like, what are you even fucking talking about? Like, unfortunately, you don't know how any of this shit works.
Yeah. That storyline with Taylor doesn't make any sense, because Taylor can't offer you the part.
No.
And she was like, here's your office. Here's your office on the show. It's like, what are you talking about? An actor with
it's
an
like
office?
deranged.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'm like, is it like a Tommy Wiseau movie? Like, what is this? Like,
why is Taylor allowed to cast? It's filming in Oklahoma, where she's from, and she knows the director. I don't know about that storyline.
It's really weird.
And I agree with Heather that all of those questions need to be answered before she agrees to be in something. She doesn't even know if it's non-union or not.
Right. Which is important if she's in SAG, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
So yeah, but I do want to watch her. I want to see videos of her with her 14-piece band. She had like a swing act. She said when she was listing out her resume, she said that she toured with a 14-piece band for 4 years.
As a singer?
Yes.
What?
Yes. And they had a
Wait, I wanna
picture
see
of
footage
her.
of that.
They had a picture of her like.
Oh my god! Wow, I'm interested in that. Do you remember when Heather was all holier than thou when Gretchen also got a part in Hot in Cleveland, or was potentially
or like
offered it?
Malibu country?
And she was like, absolutely not. There is no way that another housewife was ever potentially cast on the show. It's like, yeah, she probably was. Like, it's not this sacred show. They would never have another housewife on. They had you on it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Heather's cringe, and so there is an aspect where that's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like when she flopped down and interrupted Emily and Tamra just to get in the middle of it. I was like, oh, this is cringe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So what brought us to that? We were just talking about her in general.
We were talking about, I think episode 2 really, besides giving us the glimpse of Jen's home life, which we already talked about, which I thought was sweet, fun, endearing, made me immediately sympathetic to her.
Right.
She's like, she can ride on that all season. I mean, even if she does anything wrong, she hasn't done one thing wrong in my book.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought, she's kind of fake or lame.
Yeah.
But then I think this whole episode gets to a set piece of the flamingo.
Flamingo.
Is that what it is?
It's a flamingo party.
Do you want us, because we have talked so, like, I don't know, we've touched on almost everything. You want to get to that boat
Sure.
part? Or is anything in episode 2 you want to get to before we get that? We just passed the 2-hour mark, which we never thought we'd ever pass that mark. But that's good, right?
Yeah.
2 beautiful hours of content.
Right. Yeah. We just cruise. We don't need to talk about it, but I did like seeing them back at Javier's.
Oh, right.
Whenever there's a conversation.
What did they do
it's
at Javier's?
Shannon and Tamra hash it out, and a bee flies by, and Shannon, if they weren't fighting, she would have made such a bigger scene. She was on the verge of doing like Lucille Ball comedy about the bee.
Yeah.
She was like,
totally.
oh,
Yeah, she was being a little silly. That was at the Deck.
Oh, what's Javier's? Then?
Javier's is a beautiful Mexican restaurant that I've never been to, but it has like more of a fancy indoor aesthetic. Like,
Okay.
you'll see it. It's very essential to the OC universe. But
Okay,
the
I can
Deck-
picture it, but I guess what I meant to see is all the shit goes down at the Deck.
So I've been to the Deck.
Okay.
The Deck rips.
Okay.
It's so cool. Great margaritas, good
yeah.
beer selection. You're right on the water.
It looks gorgeous.
It's great.
I want to go.
So that's where that little
Okay.
fight
That's
happened.
what I meant then.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you out, but I had a personal association to the Deck, so I
Totally.
wanted to remember.
No, it's one of the core locations. So Emily is helping because Gina got COVID, so she has to plan this party for her.
Yes.
And she's hanging out with Shane, who's helping her put together, which Shane now is a working man. Someone commented on our TikTok when we were talking about Conover and Catania, and they said you should get Shane in there. That's hilarious.
This property, this franchise that you and I started on Turtle Time is amazing. The fact that Shane could be on this show, and Bo Deedle, and Catania, and Conover. I mean, what other lawyers do we have in this universe? It could be a revolving door of legal advice, taking on, public defense cases.
Emily is a lawyer, so
you're with me where we stand Shane completely, right?
he's funny.
He's amazing. Even Terry in the first episode goes, I like Shane. It was so awesome.
So you don't agree when Kelly Dodd called him a fucking dork?
I love that moment more than any moment in the past 5 years on OC when Kelly doesn't know that is Emily's husband, and she calls him, I was talking to that little dork over there. The way she dismisses Emily's husband without even knowing who he is and called him that is amazing. And Emily's reaction was amazing because you're like, did you just call my husband a little dork? Shane had the worst edit. They treated him like dog shit.
I know. I had to loathe him for a while there when there was that stuff about her miscarriage and how he handled it, and it was
What did he
really
do about
grim.
that? Oh, I'm sorry.
He
I don't
was just
remember
like
that.
not very sensitive, and there was some dark stuff there. And
He's
then,
not a sensitive guy.
No, which when they're fighting comes off horribly, but when they're bantering, it works
No,
well.
their love language. I'm an armchair love language expert. They like to bicker with each other.
Right.
They like that rapport. They like saying like little jabs at each other, like you not getting up to fix the AC and asking me to fix it. Well, they like that stuff. Emily likes it.
Yeah.
So I think now that I know that that's their rapport, it makes Shane much more
and they
endearing.
seem happy now.
I love it. Did you see Shane gave Emily just a little pat on the butt when they walked into Cut Fitness?
Their size differential is amazing because she also is a big, strong woman. She looks great, new hip. But Shane is tiny, and when they stand next to each other, it's fucking funny.
I mean, I seriously love them. I mean, Emily is the best cast member on OC by far, the best new cast member.
Yeah,
like
because she's fun, she's smart, she isn't afraid to say what needs to be said,
but doesn't manufacture.
But isn't like poking the bear necessarily, or what's the word I'm looking for? Stirring the pot.
Gina and her opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't even know why they're friends. Also, Gina did the thing where she was awful to Emily for a storyline like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Like just wrote off their friendship. So I don't know how Emily trusts Gina. I bet she doesn't trust her that much. But Gina is so inarticulate and bad at keeping the drama ball in the air.
Yeah.
And Emily is just naturally good at asking questions that we want to know, but not being overly performative.
Right. When she was interrogating Jen about her affair, I was like, oh, right, you're a lawyer.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was great.
But yeah, it didn't end in a fight. She was just like, okay.
So we stand Shane.
I'm into it. He's funny.
Yeah, he is really funny.
Okay, so on the boat, I feel like we kind of already talked about it, but yeah, Jen's talking about her foster to adoption storyline, and Shannon is like, "Is that John's son?"
Great, Shannon. I'm not going to try to do it. I'm just going to do it my voice, but yeah. Is that John's son over there? John's son. I think I see John's son. John's son is in that boat. It's like,
She's literally, Jen is like, and like his biological mom had a lot of issues, and we were gonna have to drop him off at the orphanage, and she's like, John's son.
I think is that his boat? John's son. It's like, what the hell? Who gives a shit? He's on the
I'm
water.
like, weren't you with them this morning? Like, it's not like your long lost cousin or something.
Yeah, it's like if you saw a friend that you're going on a road trip with driving in the car next to you, and they pull up to the stoplight at the same time, and you're going, beep, beep, hey, how's it going?
I can't
my God,
fucking believe it.
dude.
She was like, they were waving.
Yeah, ridiculous. But that is a perfect dramatic moment.
Yeah.
Shannon is
That's something Vicky 100% would do.
Yeah. Shannon is adhering to herself, where that is something she got distracted by, and she cares about John, and she cares about anything related to John. She also doesn't care about a new cast member.
Right.
And then Jen reacting to that was perfectly genuine as well. It's
Right.
like, you interrupted me while I was telling a sensitive story, and it's the first time she's telling the cast
Exactly.
this foster story.
She's new, so she can't hold court in the same way that everyone that's used to filming would.
Yeah.
Like, I think, if it were Tamara or something, she'd be like, excuse me, fucking shut the fuck up. I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
I was supposed to get out this storyline to the group, and you fucked it up.
Yeah, you totally ruined it.
And then in the never before scene, they reveal that Shannon, who never quite makes amends for it, but she says that she went through the beginning stages of taking classes to foster. So she was like, no, I'm very interested in that stuff. And it's like, then why did you do that?
Right. And they cut that scene out so Shannon doesn't look sympathetic at all. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't
it doesn't
sympathetic,
justify
because
it.
it's like,
Yeah.
then you should have been like, wow, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
I am really have always had a strong interest in that sort of thing.
And then
whatever.
this is when Tamara says to herself, I got to get a piece of this. She turns up from a 3 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 on the boat.
Right.
In terms of how she's reacting to Shannon.
Fuck a duck.
She says, fuck a duck. She starts screaming when Emily tries to get to the center of this drama. I mean, we don't really even know, like, they don't explain well what actually happened between Tamara and... It just sounds like Tamara just started talking shit about Shannon the minute she was fired.
Yeah.
And Shannon... And then
She was on the podcast circuit, and she was just saying
Yeah.
whatever she wanted.
And then Tamara says that Shannon did reach out, like, a significant amount, and she never responded to it, but Shannon didn't reach out enough.
right.
even
She's like, I did reach out. And she's like, okay, I'll give you that. You reached out a couple times.
Yeah, a lot. I'll just say a lot. I'm fully on Shannon's side. I mean, I
Yeah.
believe what Shannon says about that relationship.
Right. Well, it's this storyline that has been going on for a long time now, where Tamara's talking about getting these late night phone calls from Shannon and like supporting her through her divorce or whatever. And she let this dynamic exist. And then I guess she felt she wasn't getting the same in return. And so then she kind of just freaked out the second she realized that it was a kind of one-sided friendship or whatever.
And threw her to the threw her
To
on the
the
streets.
wolves.
Yeah, to the wolves. Like, she was just like, okay, my friendship with Shannon is over, which...
It's a little bit to a way less understandable degree, a little bit of what Danielle from Summer House's emotional journey is, where she's like, oh wow, you didn't give a fuck about me at all, now I'm losing my mind. But the power dynamic doesn't make sense, because it feels very clear that Tamara holds the cards.
Yeah, and also no offense to Tamara, but what Shannon was going through was actually more noteworthy and awful. The David Bedore divorce was really horrible for Shannon.
Yeah. But I forgot about I think that's their big fight in Mexico. Maybe was that when she was running away? I think it was about that too, where she's like, you don't, like, I answer the phone at midnight. And,
Yeah, that
it's
was
like,
her.
then don't fucking answer.
Yeah, that's what caused her to run away.
That's what Emily was saying. She was like, you're the one that you know, if she's calling you at all hours and you don't tell her to stop, then
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly.
yeah. And
So
then,
so Emily is pulling Tamara aside to get to the bottom of it. The first time they have this conversation, Heather just completely interrupts. Then the second time they have the conversation, that's when Tamara starts to scream about
Lose
it.
it.
Yeah, she loses it.
you're a liar. 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 Sandoval's a liar. Someone should remix it.
She gets so she thinks that the way Shannon behaved about John's son in the boat is exactly how Shannon behaved in their relationship. So then Tamara just goes off on her, says, "I'm going to throw my wine glass." Like she almost would have. I mean, if I know Tamara, she almost would have shattered the thing if it wouldn't have crashed all over everyone and broken glass all over the entire cast. I feel like
That's
Tamara
a
would
no-no on a boat.
don't do
And then
that.
when Emily's trying to interrupt or intervene, she goes, "Shut the fuck up or I'll hurt you."
Yeah, then she was awful to Emily.
Dude, Emily could yeet her off that boat.
Yeah, goodbye, Tamara.
Yep.
Yeah, if Tamara came at Emily,
She could like pick her up over her head
Goodbye.
and throw her off.
oh yeah, goodbye, Tamara. You're off the boat. And then Tamara threatens that she's gonna jump off, which is ridiculous. So silly.
And she calls Shannon an alcoholic.
Yeah, and then
She said, "You're a liar and a drunk."
yes, credit to Shannon.
Jesus Christ.
Shannon just goes limp. Doesn't just lets Tamara have her way with
Yeah.
all of these awful things she's saying. Doesn't react.
Smart.
Doesn't just. She says, "I don't miss this type of your personality," which who would? It's obviously this is awful. Lets it go, and then I think is it Jen who says or Emily says, "Oh yeah, Emily. Emily is impartial and objective." She says, "I really actually." Like how Shannon is handling this. She feels very zen about this
Yeah.
whole thing. She is not being overly reactive.
Yeah.
And so I think that's nice that Emily can sort of provide an unbiased take
Yeah.
on these proceedings all the time.
Shannon's like, "I feel like I'm dealing with a mafia guy."
Yeah. Because the way Tamara's talking to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in her confessional, she's basically saying like, "You're calling me a drunk, but you're the one that's acting like this," which, yeah, it's like roll the tape. Tamara's like wasted, threatening violence, screaming.
Yeah.
And Shannon, I feel like everyone was always like hard on her about the drinking when I'm like, why are we pretending like the whole point of this show, like everyone's drinking all the
Yeah.
time? Is it just because she drinks vodka and you guys drink wine?
Yeah. Also, Shannon doesn't do that much horrible stuff when she's drunk off her ass.
No.
She's kind of a fun drunk.
Yeah.
Right?
So what's
She's-
the problem?
Yeah. It's like Kyle on Summer House.
Exactly.
like,
if
if
you can
he's-
handle your shit,
If he can
if
chug
you're a high functioning alcoholic, mind your business, okay?
If he can chug 15 lover boys and then just wants to eat chips and
Yeah.
scream and have fun, you're killing it.
He's just like paranormal activity footage of him like eating cookies in the kitchen,
They
like
ro-
muttering under his breath.
They roll the timestamp and it's a half an hour and he's just hovering over the
That's my
chip.
favorite shit when he's just like seeking
Me too.
snacks.
He
in the
doesn't do it a
house.
lot anymore, it seems like.
Yeah, he's probably
He-
like,
He got out of his snack era
yeah, he's like probably on keto or something.
and he can't eat his Tostitos chips.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the very end of episode 2.
Yeah.
Should we just, are there any major highlights on this newest episode? They did call this.
to talk about episode 3?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would talk about it. I have more extensive notes about
Okay.
episode 3 than I do 1 and 2.
Do you know what they called this episode?
Yes, I can never forget it. It's called We, meaning the proverbial we, all
Yeah.
of us, cut the name of the gym.
Yeah.
It. What does it signify? We cut it, the thing,
Uh-huh.
close, with ED, right?
Yeah. It's
We-
close.
Oh, yeah.
COLOSE.
We cut it close.
Then parentheses, another E, D. So they did the E twice.
They
could have just done the D.
Now that I'm thinking about this, my favorite moment in the entire episode is Shannon reading it on her way in, going, "I don't get that. Let me read it again, and I'll probably get that." And then she just gives up, and it doesn't
It
make any
broke
sense.
my brain when that happened because I was like, I literally can't begin to understand what the fuck they're
let's
talking
be
about.
the first and only podcast right now, I'm calling it. We're going to be the podcast that deciphers what that means. And I love that they named the episode that because they're like, does this make any sense? So
We cut it close.
We cut it close means we could have survived. Our business could have made it.
Like it was borderline.
First of all, it's cut is closed. That's the main message.
Yeah.
We cut it close. We cut it close.
We cut it closed.
Cut closed, right? Is the two things they're trying to say, but then they want another phrase in there, we cut it close.
Yeah.
Meaning it means we could have possibly made this work.
Like, in what world? What are we
we
talking about?
Someone's going to respond and be like, it makes perfect sense. This is it. But
there's no way.
we cut
it close.
We cut it close. Closed.
It could be, we cut it closed.
We cut, like, we were a fitness trainer. We cut your bodies. We cut. Sad.
We cut it closed.
I think it's the first theory. We cut it close. Like, who wrote that? Eddie? Who wrote it? Bravo tagline person?
I wish Andy brought it up on Watch What Happens Live. Like
the fact that it was because it was Heather and didn't have anything to do with her, so we couldn't ask her. But I want to know what the impetus of that was, what it was supposed to mean. That's like, we could ask Tamara in 2 seconds. I could ask her on
I'm
Twitter.
dying to know.
They
got a sign made.
We cut it closed. Did you
Do
like
you think they read it to Kinko's and the guy was like, wait, he had to cross it out, and they were like, no, close, like spell out close or close completely, but then in parentheses another E D, so it's like closed.
Closed. Yeah, the guy at Kinko's was just like, what the hell do you want it to say?
He's like, write it down on this Post-it, I'll just copy it.
We cut it closed. Did you like when Shannon walked in and she was trying to decipher it?
I'm telling you, my brain completely jumbled in that moment because I hadn't read the title yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no world in which my brain will be able to think about this.
Because it's one of those things where you don't want to take time to think about it. You just are like, I get it or I don't, and it doesn't matter.
It like
that
gives
much.
me anxiety. Like when I think about how it's spelled out,
it also looks
my
like
heart like tightens.
Yeah, it looks like math too.
Yeah,
the way
it's
they
oh my god,
oriented it
yeah,
with parentheticals,
like algebra.
Plus, we cut plus it
to the third. With like a little, what's the thing with the check?
E squared, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that thing with the check mark? Division?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that again.
Yeah. So I loved that. That was fun.
Very funny.
Are we talking? We're at the very end of the episode, but that was just the title. We're talking about the title.
At the
that
very
was so fun.
beginning, it's Heather eating ribs with her kids, which I thought it was very funny. Like they have a personal chef and they're in their like $1 billion house and they're like, let's have ribs.
Yeah.
Like, let's be like normal. Down home.
All of her scenes with her family, I'm dismissive of Heather. They seem very like we're the perfect family.
Yeah, but her kids seem sweet and they seem like you think it's bullshit or
I mean, they seem very, very spoiled.
Totally. But they seem like they love each other.
Yeah, her family
They're not
loves
like the freaking what's her name with the bracelets daughters? Lynn.
Oh, Lynn's daughters.
They're probably I don't know, they're probably on freaking OnlyFans, which more power to you if that's true.
True. They're actually really cool. OC was built on these bad, awful kids, and so far there's no baddie. The little OC was built on Shane Keogh, the
Lori's daughter
Tammy's,
Ashley,
Tammy's daughters,
Tammy's OC Angels,
Lynn's, and now we don't have any bad kids anymore.
Yeah, they're all little sweethearts.
Jen and Ryan's kids are too sweet. They're not going to be storming up Coto de Casa, right? Is that what it's
storming
called?
the Capitol.
They're not going to be storming the Capitol. I mean, and Ryan,
Ryan's storming the Capitol. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's amazing that he wasn't. What if he had been arrested for participating in their insurrection during filming?
Wouldn't have been surprised in the least. What if the
we
feds
talk about the insurrection every single week?
It's relevant.
Yeah.
What if the feds came like how they came for Jen Shaw?
Oh, right. While they were
and they
actually
were
filming.
Pew!
You know what?
He got on a horse and started riding away.
Yeah, to his
It's
ranch.
like, yeehaw.
There's no evidence that Ryan participated on January 6th. I have to
Except
just
for his
say.
outfit in this episode.
Yeah, Ryan's era.
That's cut and closed circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, I think Ryan was definitely an awful kid as well. And they
Yeah.
just don't have any kids even in the lineup for that. I mean, Heather's kids are well adjusted, albeit very
Yeah.
spoiled.
They have a full range of the rainbow alphabet in their house,
Yep.
and seems like the parents are handling it quite nicely.
Yeah, yes.
I like their kids.
Okay.
They don't seem like little dick bags to me. They're privileged, but I don't know.
They
They seem nice.
Why am I gonna? Yeah, I'm not gonna rag on kids. I think that Heather. I think it's a little bit like they seem actory when they're on camera, and
Yeah.
they seem
It's
like
giving like
it's giving
Leave It
like-
to Beaver.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Leave It to Beaver, and I was like, is that reference too old? It is like, come on, kids, let's go eat ribs and let's have a discussion about school and blah blah.
Yeah, they're like,
I like the Jen and Ryan chips and cheese. Hey Dominic, do you want your chips and cheese? Hurry, it's getting hot. Like that's more. Well, I don't know. That says more
Real.
about what I identify as a family than what Heather's. Maybe they're just actually well adjusted and beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah, we'll see if they break. Like once the kids leave the house, if they have a crack in the facade.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. I mean, maybe Heather and Terry's life just is wonderful and perfect.
I mean, Terry's one of my favorite house husbands. So
Why do you like him?
I think he's funny.
Yeah, he's
I think
definitely
he's
funny.
sweet. I love his relationship with Dr. Nassif on Botched.
yeah.
I straight up watch Botched.
Okay,
I like
still,
it.
I've never seen
I
it.
don't know if it's on right now, but I've watched it a lot.
I can't look at people with botched plastic surgery, so I can't watch.
I
that.
like surgery footage. I
Okay.
like it all.
Andy Cohen said he's never watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of that reason?
He
Or-
said on Daddy Diaries, he said.
Oh yeah, he said that he thought it was afraid he was offended.
Because he always makes a joke that he's never seen one episode of Botched, and Terry, he said after like however many seasons it's been, Terry can't believe that Andy has never actually watched it.
It's a good show. It's like, it's basically like the Dr. Pimple Popper format.
Ooh. You like that show?
I don't watch it, but it's like all of those medical shows. It's like 2 cases per episode. Like for Botched, one is,
But
it's-
you wouldn't be adverse to the pimple popper
I
aesthetic?
have depending on my mood, I could be into it. TikTok serves it to me.
Oh, pimple popping?
Yeah.
I worked on a Discovery Channel show, and it was in the offices where they filmed Dr. Pimple Popper. So people were coming in with just gigantic
Where's that?
pimples waiting to be popped. Burbank,
Oh, okay.
Discovery Channel.
Good to know. Discovery is the pantheon of garbage dump television.
90 Day
David
Fiancé is Discovery,
Zaslav,
right?
you heard me.
Yeah, but 90 Day Fiancé is on Discovery.
I said what I said. They have Dr. Pimple Popper. Now they have like 10 shows that are like that. One's about feet and it's called My Feet Are Killing Me. And there's one about chiropractors. Can you guess what it's called?
My back hurts.
Crack addicts.
Oh, people who love to crack their backs. All that stuff grosses me out. Even though I would love to have my back cracked in 10 different ways right now, the fact that other people are getting it, I don't like to hear them.
I'm on chiropractor TikTok. I love hearing those
Okay, so
cracks.
you're more you like body horror.
Discovery. I have a long history of watching medical. I watched Dr. 90210. Remember the Swan? Terry was on the Swan.
Oh, he
He was one of the doctors on the
he
Swan.
made someone that was an ugly duckling turn into a beautiful swan.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so you like Terry. I like Terry too.
I think
completely
he's
fine.
funny.
Yeah, I like
He's good
him.
for TV.
He's there's nothing wrong with Terry. I like
And-
him. I think he's funny. I think he says his opinions sometimes and they're actually funny, like when he said Dr. Jen and Ryan's relationship was awful, or like
Right.
he is honest sometimes and he does get into it sometimes.
Yeah.
He really got mad at Simon Bedore.
What was that about?
I think Simon Bedore was commenting on Heather riding the bull, and he was
Oh
drunk
my
as hell.
God,
and he goes,
yeah.
Heather, oh God,
He was like, I like what I see.
ooh, Heather, oh my God, look at her ass
I
on that
forgot
thing.
he got
Terry,
so mad.
Terry got pissed. It was so Terry, that was
That
great.
was when they had the onion rings. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what scene I would have loved to be in the backyard of more than anything? You won't be able to guess. The sushi scene when Heather came back and she threw that $100,000 sushi party and none of them ate it. I wish to God I had been in the backyard waiting
In the trash can?
in the trash can when
They
she
dump the sushi out. You just open your mouth and it all goes in.
yeah, it's like the Popeye character who eats all the hamburgers. You know what I'm talking about? Mr. Wimpy. Anyway, that was a lot of sushi. Beautiful Nobu.
I would eat it all.
She could have kept serving that for 2 days in the backyard. I would have kept eating it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Their house is probably air conditioned enough to keep it cold.
Totally. Definitely. Oh my God. Yeah. I forgot about that little groundbreaking rodeo that they had like a full blown party just on their land that they bought.
I said Simon Bedore. David Bedore.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
They do
Simon.
kind of look alike, actually.
Yes, I know. I get Simon Barney, and because I watched it all so fast.
Yeah.
Simon Barney and David Bedore.
They both kind of have not as hot, but they kind of have a Christopher Plummer look.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I don't even remember what Simon looks like anymore. It's been a long time since I've seen him. So pretend I said David Bedore when I said Terry got mad at
I knew
David
what you
Bedore.
meant.
Good.
But yeah. Okay, so they were eating ribs, blah, blah, blah. She talks about her career. Then
So she wants to move back to LA, and they're going to restart NBC's Jenny.
I would watch it.
Would you?
But doesn't Terry have a practice in Orange County, or is he going to stop doing that?
He could do whatever. I mean, I think he has $600 million.
This hasn't been on the show, but when she was on Watch What Happens, he said that they sold their house for like $200 million. I
know.
Did we know that?
Also, I didn't know that they sold their house.
Right.
Because there's so much drama about building this dream house. She said it was like managing a hotel.
I believe that.
So what, they're going to downgrade?
I guess. They don't have as many kids in the house anymore. And she said that they lived there for 6 years, which is the longest they've ever lived anywhere in their 30-year marriage.
Shocked.
Insane.
Yeah.
That sounds awful to me, but
I can't believe that for the effort for those. I can't believe for those 6 years that they did all of that work and made that mansion.
Money talks, baby.
That kind of money. I already said it. That kind of money. I like the level of money where I'm like, Vicky is rich. I don't like seeing $500 million. I don't like seeing that. I'm like,
for
give
that
me
money,
sushi.
you could go on a submersible.
Yeah. Terry was probably so close to booking a Titanic trip like that.
Thank God he didn't. Terry, don't do it. You already tore your meniscus. All right, let's zoom through this shit.
All right, okay, wait. Okay, this scene with Gina and Travis is not good. Not good. But I did like the broker question. Did you write it down?
Well, I didn't write down the question, but I wrote down that they used the "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" graphic and music, which was fun.
They had it loaded up. But anyway, Gina wants to have something to do instead of just instigating horrible drama. So she's going to get her real estate license.
My theory is that she binged Selling Sunset and was like, I could do that.
Yeah, I want to do that. No one has had less of impact on the story than Gina in the past 3 seasons. I'm very surprised she was asked back.
Right.
Also, her relationship, they knew that relationship was possibly gonna. Sorry, I'm going too long. But anyway, they take the broker's test, and the broker test, to me, it didn't seem that hard. It said if you're a broker and you never ever ever want to pick up phone calls from people who are calling you to buy a house from you, what would you call that? And it says acceptable, mandated, discouraged, or prohibited. Now, I don't think it's acceptable. Right?
Mandated.
Well, you know when you're taking tests and they say that one answer is supposed to be easily removed, that's mandated. Acceptable, it's like, yeah, that's acceptable.
I guess do what you want.
But then if you see discouraged as an option, you have to think it's discouraged. Unfortunately, Gina says prohibited.
Well,
as
she
if
was
it's
like you're not going to call him back at all?
Yeah, and he goes, I just have the one question. That was a good Gina. Damn, goddamn. He goes, I just have the one question, babe. Please just answer it. And she goes, prohibited? And he goes, nope, unfortunately it's discouraged. Because how could they really prohibit you from doing that? If you're alone in a broker's office and you're not returning phone calls. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I'm going to be a broker
It was really
now.
funny that he just threw her like a softball to be like, how is
Yeah.
she going to do on this test? And it was such a flub.
It was like her flopping with that Jen TikTok later. She's just flopping with everything she's given.
Seriously.
She starts to I'm sorry, and then she just starts to talk shit about Jen. She is trying to craft in real time the drama that is going to propel her storyline by being the one who's so against infidelity, even though
Right.
she has no clue what actually happened.
Right.
And
Do you
she's,
think she's afraid that Jen will take her slot?
of course,
Yeah.
it's a trope.
I mean, she should.
Yeah, I was like, instantly I hope next season has Jen holding an orange and Gina is a friend of or out. Because
Yeah.
the way they're handling this season, Jen is killing it and Gina is grasping at straws.
Totally. I agree. The next part is the crystal shop, starting with
How many notes do you have about that?
a few.
What do you think about John, just generally?
I mean, I feel like now in retrospect, I'm like, what was his deal? But I don't know. He seems like a nice guy.
I don't fuck with him.
You think he's creepy?
Yeah, I think he's like Eddie, where he keeps the weirdness at bay.
I can
And
see it.
I think he wants to be on TV a lot.
Okay.
They've shown some never before scenes where he got really like dramatic and overblown and goes like, fuck Tamra
Oh,
or whatever.
right.
Like, you're never going to talk to Tamra again. And they cut it out because it looks really like performative
Right.
or whatever. And also he left her the minute that the season ended.
I know. It was like 3 days after or
He's
something.
he's just too nice. He doesn't have any spark to him. I haven't heard him say
Yeah.
anything. I have no idea any nuance to him. I don't get the sense that he's like a great
Maybe
person.
he doesn't have spark because he's a water sign.
So
Shannon's
it's
a fire sign.
so his spark is constantly being doused with water.
Yeah. Well, because she's fire and he's water. And she said, does that mean you put my fire out? And he goes, it makes hot water, sweetie. And I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was okay. That was kind of a softball.
It's something.
Yeah, he created something out of that. But he was very he was also looking at the crystals and like looking at them.
He had to
and, like,
stand there for so fucking long.
and then while she's having the Tamra like FaceTime, he's just in the background like looking at her and
Did
like
you
listening.
notice that she got the FaceTime call and she was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, are you going to take it? She's like, I'll go take it. And then the wide shot, you can see the icons on her phone.
Oh no. What icons?
Like she's not on the phone.
Oh, really?
I think maybe they did that after because they wanted like a establishing shot or something.
So they
but
just got an insert of her
I
phone?
think so.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay. No, I
because-
didn't notice that.
yeah, when it's far away, you can see icons on her phone, but then in the close up, there's clearly Tamra on the phone and her in the smaller square. So it did appear to be real, but that far away shot, I was like, you guys, come on.
Yeah, please. We notice these things.
Oh, and then they do a montage. I've kind of forgot about Shannon's obsession with Eastern self-care.
Remember that doctor that she goes to?
Oh my gosh, Dr. Moon.
Yeah, she goes to him like every 2 weeks.
Obsessed. And then remember her colonic
Yeah, of
emergency.
Yeah. She is very holistic.
And yeah, she said she's working with an energy healer and she needs protection because she's taking on people's energy. And I had forgotten that she had jewels put inside her teeth.
I had completely forgotten that too. And why? Just so they always live with you?
I guess so, to protect you.
For a holistic person, I wouldn't think you'd want
It's intense.
things embedded into your body, like foreign
Right.
objects in
I
your
took
body.
a photo of this last night on Watch What Happens Live. They had the Watch What Happens 5 countdown was tooth moments on Bravo. And I was like, well, I know what one of them is.
Me too. And Sonia has like 3 of them
Yeah. That's the best.
when her tooth just falls out while they're just having a conversation.
That's
Oh, my tooth
the
fell
gray
out.
gardens of it all.
The best.
Where when then she makes her tagline, there's nothing gray about my gardens, which is fun.
Yeah, that is so great. I love that.
Okay. So the Tamra FaceTime looks insane. It looks like a hostage video or something. I think it's because she's not on a phone. Maybe she's on like an iPad, so it's very staged positioning.
Yeah, it's so awful. She fully just apologizes with everything in her. She starts to cry. She thinks that obviously what she did on the boat was horrible, which it was. And now she wants Shannon back as a friend after calling her an alcoholic and a liar and screaming and says she's going to throw a glass at her. It's just...
Yeah. And Shannon's like, all right, I guess.
Shannon's like, I'm not going to make this an issue, but I'm not all the way there yet with Tamara.
Right. And she's like, please come to my hibachi party at my closed gym.
The fact that there was hibachi there is, we haven't even talked about it. What the hell was going on?
Hibachi is always a good idea. Come on.
In Cut Fitness, a sweaty gym with the residue of sweat all on the walls, and it was hot there. People are taking off their panties.
Yeah.
And you're eating hot hibachi at the end of it.
Slinging shrimp into everybody's mouth.
You can never know watching how hot something is unless they're like actively sweating, but they all talked about being so hot.
Everything airing on Bravo right now was filmed when it was really hot, like however long ago. Like,
oh, because Sandoval and Ariana, when they're roller skating, they're like, this is the
and
worst
it's like
nightmare.
triggering because I'm like, oh God, is it around the corner? I'm not ready. I don't want it.
We've had the longest winter.
Yeah.
It's been from, I think, October to now with
Yeah.
only sporadic heat waves. I can't even believe how long it's been since hot weather.
You guys are not prepared for what will happen when it gets hot and we are sitting in this very apartment trying to record. We're gonna have to wear bathing suits. We're gonna have to just like douse ourselves with like ice.
You're gonna have a big tarp on the couch so we can just pour cold water on ourselves. We're gonna be like, and it was an amazing episode, so much fun. I love it. We gotta go.
10 minutes.
I can't believe we're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm derailing us.
Okay, I'll just quickly say I forgot how rich Shane's parents are.
Yeah, that pool looked
their
amazing.
Their names are Perry and Larry.
What? Shane's parents are named Perry and Larry? Perry?
P-A-R-Y. And then regular Larry.
His dad is Larry and
Yeah.
his mom is Perry.
Yeah.
Wow. And then Emily says she's estranged from her family, which
I forgot
didn't
about
know.
that.
I knew the dad. She talks about it last season a lot. She's estranged
Doesn't her mom make an appearance and it's kind of weird?
Yes.
And like depressing?
Yes, because she doesn't really know the kids and hasn't seen him in a long time.
She has like mental health issues.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember that now. So Emily has a rough, parental life.
So love her even more now.
Yep.
The acting coach scene, what did you think about this as a casting director?
I think the acting coach was giving really strange advice. I don't think you
To give blowjobs to prepare your voice?
Yeah, first of all, yeah. I mean, I think that's impractical to ask everyone to give a blowjob to open up.
Have you been to Broadway?
No. It was impractical advice. It was also when Taylor was doing the scene, she's playing a reporter, but you could tell from the context of the scene that a detective...
She wasn't reporting.
Yeah, so the acting coach said, you should do this like a reporter. If Taylor actually did a reporter voice in that scene, they would be like, no, you can't. Obviously, next.
You go to Katie Couric's house to tell her family's been murdered, and she's like...
And now?
She's like, reporting live from my living room.
I am now talking to a detective. Yeah, that was bad advice. Yeah. Also, I know that Heather wasn't bringing her 100% in that scene, but Taylor actually was a pretty good actor.
Wasn't bad.
Heather stunk up the room, but she also wasn't, going full force. So,
right.
I think the storyline, like we already talked about, is dumb because Taylor can't hire someone, and there are a lot of questions that a working actor, which I'll give it, Heather is a working actor.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. You can't just offer
right.
the part. There's a lot more that goes into it. So this scene just kind of felt silly. But Taylor, I never liked Taylor all throughout Beverly Hills. I thought she was awful on the show.
Okay.
Like, not fun, didn't bring anything.
Well, she was falling apart at the seams.
Right.
Like, completely
Noella,
dying inside.
Noella, level
right.
trauma and horrors going on.
Yeah.
But now I think Taylor is a fine addition. She's doing okay so far. She hasn't made me mad.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like there's going to be major drama about this Oklahoma movie.
I think Heather's going to go and be in it.
Let's see it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we get to the cut party, the hibachi party. I need to, this will be the second week that I've brought up Selena, but Tamara's wearing the identical outfit that Selena famously wore at the Houston Astrodome.
The exact one?
Okay, so this is Tamara. See?
Yeah.
This is Selena.
You have to show our little turtle cuties on
I'll
YouTube.
put it in the edit.
Okay. Oh man, that would be so cool. So
Isn't
wow.
that crazy?
Yeah. So how many times have you seen Selena the film?
A lot.
I've only seen it once, but it was really
I watched
good.
it a lot growing up.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
I
and
love Selena music too.
Yeah.
She
is
would have
it-
been a huge star.
Is it
Anyways,
Edward James almost?
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing.
James almost?
Yeah. Did I almost get it right? He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's so good in that movie.
Anything for Selena's. Love that movie. That's an Easter egg out for the fans.
Also, you haven't showed our little turtle cuties the amazing sweater. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about it or do you want to save it to the end? We can save it to the end, right? Reward ourselves?
Sure.
Or do you think we'll forget?
Okay, well, I'll just quickly say we have some upcoming merch that I just got the sample of today, and it's perfect for us talking about OC. It is a Brooks and Dawn, not to be confused with Brooks and Dunn sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I'll stand up for YouTube.
So you might be familiar with the musical group of two men called Brooks and Dunn, named after who's the Brooks and who's the Dunn? Ronnie Dunn. Do you know who it's not Garth Brooks. Okay. Anyway, there is a famous musical act, but we have created, I mean specifically Amy designed
Well, this was your pun though. You
my
thought of it.
pun, my thought, but Amy designed it. This shirt is heavenly. It sends you up to heaven when you wear
I
it.
hope we don't get assist and deceased.
Oh yeah, please don't tell anybody that this is available in the Turtle Time merch shop. But it is Brooks and Dawn. You know Brooks he's a wonderful cast member on OC, and you love Dawn. Well, wouldn't you love a shirt that shows both of them together with a big flaming graphic and a American flag on it? Anyway, that's the merch minute.
Yeah. So we will be posting about that, but I just got it in the mail like 10 minutes before Riley got here. So I was like, I have to throw it on.
Okay, so we're at Cut Fitness. You identified that Tamara is wearing Selena's famous Houston Astrodome outfit, right?
Yeah.
And then just let me say really quickly, when Shane walks up to Cut Fitness, he gives Emily a little pat on the butt, and then they add a huge smack sound effect. Yeah. It was the impact on her butt. The impact on her butt was so minimal. It was definitely a pat.
Yeah.
And those editors turned up a sound effect of a whip.
It was like,
It's like, come on, don't do Shane like that. He didn't smack her ass with that much impact that it made a sound.
yeah, it was like Tim and Eric sound effects.
Yeah, it totally was.
I loved it. And then it's Eddie's night, and he's wearing a loose tie. What the fuck was that?
Eddie looked like he was the AC/DC guy who wears the schoolboy outfit with a loosened tie. Do you know what I'm talking about? In the little shorts? He was wearing AC/DC, whatever the main lead singer of that guy wears. It was...
Angus.
Is his name Angus?
I think so.
Okay, it was an odd choice. Was it like...
But why did he loosen his tie at the beginning of the night? Just don't wear a tie.
We cut it close. Is it? I think it's like work's over. I'm retiring, so
I see.
I've got one foot out the door.
School's out for summer.
They had a theme going on that they didn't let everyone know about, and Eddie is dressed, like a schoolboy who just got done, and they loosened their tie. It looked really odd.
It was dumb. I was like, you're weird.
Yeah.
And then Heather reminds Tamara that the opening party that they had there is when she kicked out Alexis Bellino, and Tamara quotes something that I had forgotten as a quotable, but Alexis in the car saying, "I had to go on Xanax, Lydia," which I was like, I guess that's a funny quote.
Yeah, that is really fun. I miss Lydia.
Yeah. My brain just showed me the Charlie Chaplin.
Mine too.
It's always on my mind.
Because there was an amazing tweet that Bravo said that said, "What's the gayest moment of Bravo history?" And someone just quote tweeted it with Lydia coming out in that Charlie Chaplin outfit.
There's literally nothing better. It was the funniest reveal of all time. Like every single other woman did hair metal, and that was her take.
It was so
It's the
interesting.
most batshit thing I've ever seen in my life.
Also, Lydia is so unique in the fact that she was on one season, she hated it. Then she went off for like 2 seasons, and then they finally got her back. She went on 1 season, she hated it again. It's like they gave her 2 chances, and I think she quit both times. herself.
Totally. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And then Ryan comes in, Tamara's son, Ryan. He's in full cowboy regalia, including a belt buckle, a cowboy hat, the jeans, like boots, everything.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
I was gonna say he looks old as fuck. He looks ragged, dude.
No, I know. I mean,
He's like been through the ringer. What's wrong with him? How he's like our age, isn't he?
he looked 30 when he was 18.
Yeah.
And now he's 34 and he looks 45. He's just aging rapidly. He has a Jack syndrome from the film. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. J-Lo's in that.
What? Oh, yeah. And did you know Francis Ford Coppola directed that?
Yeah. There's a show on Broadway right now called Kimberly Akimbo, and it's the same plot as Jack.
Wait, there's a show on Bravo?
On Broadway.
Called...
The Great Broadway.
Wait, what do they call it? The Grand...
White Way?
The Grand White... It's called Kimberly Akimbo, and it's the plot of Jack.
Yeah,
where
but with a girl. But it's a young, like a 10-year-old played by like a 60-year-old woman, and she just won the Tony.
She did for that? Yeah. And it's the plot of Jack. And Benjamin Button is, of course, the opposite.
Right.
Do you know in Jack, at the end, Robin Williams is giving his speech, and it's his high school speech, but he's 80 years old at that point. And he goes, well, I'm going to make my speech short, like my life.
Oh my God.
He says that to a crowd of high schoolers.
Are they all like, oh.
They start cheering.
Oh, did it make you cry? Yes. Do you love that movie?
Yes. I think it's actually one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. Francis Ford Coppola's filmography.
Why did he do that?
He was so in debt. I know exactly why. He made the biggest flop in the world that he self-financed after Apocalypse Now. It's called like this Vegas musical or something. Some dog shit film that he said, put it all on black, baby.
Yeah.
Spent $250 million of his own money, or like $100 million. Went fully broke, bust. And then his entire 90s career, 80s and 90s, is him just getting money, taking pay jobs.
Right. Wow. Did you follow him on Instagram?
No, he has an Instagram?
Just this week. He started an IG.
We have to take a break, everybody. Francis Ford Coppola has an Instagram.
Sometimes he's like, ask me anything.
I'm going to ask him so many questions. I'm reading Easy Riders, Raging Bulls for the first time right now.
Nice.
Have you read it?
I think I read that.
Oh, it completely rips like an Easy Rider motorcycle. It is so good. It's all
Guess
about...
what? I've seen all those fucking movies, okay?
Okay, good. Yeah, good. No, I knew you did. But the book is so beautiful. I mean, it's behind the scenes in all those films.
I feel like I read that at some point, but I'm not sure. I think I would remember. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, I can't believe Francis Ford Coppola.
What do they call that era? The like those like not Gonzo, but like the 70s.
New Hollywood?
Yeah, New Hollywood.
Yeah, they call it the New Hollywood era. From Easy Riders to Raging Bulls. It's an amazing book, but I can't believe Francis Ford
5
Coppola
easy
directed
pieces,
Jack.
am I right?
Totally. I'm talking Mean Streets. I'm talking Taxi Driver. I'm talking The Exorcist. Okay, 2 hours and 50 minutes. We're at the final scene.
Okay, Ryan looks like shit. We cut it closed.
Speaking of, well, it's not really Easy Riders, but speaking of, I don't know, he's dressed like a cowboy.
Yeah.
Okay. Tamara
Urban-
reiterates that she misses Shannon. She's fully in her apologize era.
Yeah. Gina tries to bring up the most boring bullshit of all time, and we're all just like, clip, skip.
2 minutes that just could be removed from the episode. She tries to... Do we even have to talk about it? Jen recorded a TikTok saying she's happy to be in business, and somehow Gina thinks that's the most offensive thing you can ever do. It is brought up and dismissed within 1 minute. It's over.
Yeah, no one cares.
Gina flops. Then Gina tries to make a big deal about the infidelity.
Yep.
Again.
I
all
wrote
sort
down
of go
sanctimonious.
completely sanctimonious.
Yeah.
Gina's sanctimonious all of a sudden.
Come on. I'm like, didn't you live in like a casita like a year ago? Come on.
Gina, come on.
Although, do you think there's more to the story? Because Jen says she never slept with Ryan while she was married, and Tamara's like, tell the truth.
Just be honest. The absurdity of Tamara telling someone to just be honest. It's almost too much for me.
I do think there's probably more to the story, but
So Megan thinks that too. I just choose to believe Jen. She hasn't lied to me yet. If I find out she's lying, I'll be like, okay, that sucks. But I think it was an emotional affair that she thought was just as bad, and maybe a kiss happened, but she said they didn't fully have sexual intercourse before.
okay.
I guess that's unlikely, but I choose to believe Jen at this point in time.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I'm so uninterested in the timeline. I don't care.
No. I mean, it's like, yeah, we don't know you, so everything pre-show I kind of don't care about.
Yeah, go ahead and cheat.
Unless it was murder.
You care if someone murdered someone?
Then I'd want the timeline.
They've never had a housewife that murdered someone.
Well, maybe indirectly.
Yeah, because they let oh, never mind. I don't
You don't want
wanna-
to cease and desist?
I don't even want to talk about that.
Now I want to know. I'll ask you after.
Yeah.
Okay, cake cutting. It's a cake that has a kettlebell on the top.
Yep.
And it has like a towel on it. And Emily goes, I want to eat the kettlebell.
Iconic. I mean, amazing.
Then Tamara starts slamming the cake all over the place.
Oh,
I'm so not into food fights.
me neither. Who is? They're the lamest form of
Imagine
entertainment.
driving home with all that shit all over you.
Plus, there's been way too many of them. I mean,
Right.
there's been them on Vanderpump Rules.
base.
It's so
and
dumb.
then Emily starts going, "You're wasting it! You're wasting it! Don't waste it!"
And
you
she's
can
picking it up.
She's basically like licking her lips, like she's like, "Can't wait to get my hands on this cake."
She's grabbing crumbs from the air and putting it together. She's really trying to actually salvage it, which it was an expensive cake.
Yeah.
They did ruin it.
It was
They
that fondant cake, though. It's never
where
good.
it has that thick crust.
Yeah.
Is that what fondant is?
Yeah, it's like the roll-on smooth frosting.
Yeah, so it might not have been. I mean, I would have eaten it. But
Well, Emily takes a bite at one point, and you can see her face going, "Oh, it's pretty good."
yeah, she likes it. And then Tamara, no one is playing with her in the muck of cake, and she just puts it on herself. Like, so sad. You made yourself, caked in cake.
Yeah,
That's
she's running around like a demon.
and yeah, and then you see production. They're all running around. They don't want to get. And
Yeah.
this is exactly what she was doing when she got fired. This kind of these antics.
Yeah, and then Emily, the last thing you see is Emily feeds Tamara's mom a piece of cake with her hands.
Tamara fed cake to.
Emily
Oh.
fed Tamara's mom cake.
That is so sweet. Emily is just always looking out for everyone else. Well, you closed your notebook, right?
That's all she wrote.
That is all she wrote, and
We cut it closed.
Oh my! We cut
We cut it closed.
Wait, now that phrase makes sense. We cut it closed. Our closed notebooks. Well, no
Wow.
one.
How is this like our third longest episode ever and we didn't even talk about Sandoval?
I don't know if that's good or not good. I think it's good, but if people don't like this episode, it's
I mean,
not
we're
good.
honoring the long form format.
Yes. If you like OC, I feel like you have to like this.
Yeah.
We really went in.
Covered a lot of ground.
Just we covered like the legacy of OC almost. I mean, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, depending on what happens in the world this week, next week we might only have to talk about one episode instead of 3.
And
So
now-
then maybe it'll be a little shorter.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we did an hour and a half episode.
But then again, I didn't know there was going to be a submersible
yes,
disaster this week.
Yeah, who knows what we're gonna talk about when you get us on mic. I just wanted to say that
What's wrong with us?
I think there's just a lot to say, and there's a lot of tangents. I guess. I'll say these 3 hours I spend with you are the fastest 3 hours of my life.
Blink and they're done. Like we've discussed, we get comments where people are like, "LOL, I totally agree with you on this topic," and I'm like, "What the fuck did I say?"
Yeah, they'll say like, "Amy, I love when you said this thing, and I cannot remember any moment."
Someone said something about the milk minute, and I was like, I mean, I love milk, but did we really talk about that?
Have we ever talked about milk? I'm gonna remember that we talked about Jack this episode.
Okay.
I'm so glad we got to finally talk about Jack.
Okay. Yeah, if you got to this point, 2 hours 56 minutes, then mention Jack in a comment so that we know that you made it this far.
Yes, please mention the film Jack by Francis Ford Coppola, and we will know that you are the best little turtle cutie in the world. Also, I just want to say, in terms of programming, it's an OC era for a little bit. So if you don't watch OC, I don't know, bear with us, but we have a good era coming up. We
Yep.
have Crappy Lake, which is going to be so enjoyable and fun.
Yeah.
And then Roni is actually, I think, going to be really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, whether or not the show is really good, I think our commentary will make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, even talking about OC, I thought this was the worst episode of OC in the world, but it's fun to talk about it, even if we're talking negatively about it. It's like it makes it more enjoyable. So I
Totally.
thought it was enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, I think I'll enjoy OC moving forward more now that it's on my radar for our conversations.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And then just some what's this? Some business at the end. I wanted to ask, please, if you haven't and you love this episode, please review us on
Yes.
Apple Podcasts. We have some of the best. Or where do people review us? Apple?
Apple, and I guess wherever you listen. I think you can
Yeah.
review on Spotify too.
Is there a Spotify review section?
I don't know.
Well, if anywhere you listen, if you want to give us a review, if you actually do like this and you like us talking about Jack and active shooters,
Fatwa.
Fatwas, then yeah, let us know. And anything else I always want to plug Patreon just because.
If 3 hours wasn't long enough, you can get a bonus anywhere between 1 to 2 hours per week.
And they're fun. I don't want to toot our own horns too much, but they're fun. You know,
We're very relaxed on those, and we're talking about old Vanderpump, so it's nothing but fun.
nothing but fun. Oh yeah. That's the perfect pitch. If you miss Vanderpump Rules and want to hear two Vanderpump Rules, I'm not going to say experts, but enthused Vanderpump Rules watchers, we're going through a Vanderpump Rules era together right now from the start, and we're at a very good part in season 2 if you wanted to pick up.
Yep. And it's only going to get better from there because, as you know, that show never stops slaying for so many years.
From season 2 to season 7, it's like a work of art.
Totally.
Okay, well, we love you. I don't think there's anything else, but Patreon. We also did our huge 50-minute Loverboy review, which I actually think is fun.
It is fun. Should we vamp until the episode is exactly 3 hours? We have about 30 seconds left to go.
So Francis Ford Coppola, in an effort to make money again,
Did he produce Hook?
I don't
Did I
know.
make that up?
I mean, he was definitely affiliated with Spielberg, so he totally could have. I mean, he was the first one who had massive success, so he was sort of the godfather of New Hollywood.
Well, he has all that wine money now, too.
Yeah, so he's probably rich as hell.
I think so.
Well, Francis Ford Coppola, you're an amazing man, and I love
I'm going
3 of your
to DM
movies.
him on Instagram now.
You should. Do you like The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2?
The answer is yes.
This one's for you tonight.